And just like that, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the World of Brickfilms podcast. I am your host, William of AW Studios. Joining with us, as always, is my good friend and co-host, Sean Willis of Silly Penta.
We're live this time. Got to be careful.
Yeah, we'll do it live. We also with us, we have the winner of THAC 2021, ForlornCreature.
Hello.
And also...
THAC 2024.
Yeah. And
I know he won a whole bunch of THACs, but I don't think he won 2021.
Did I say 2021?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh no. I'll have to restart the live stream.
That's it. I'm ending it here. No. The THAC 2024 winner. And also, we, with myself and Sean included, we have the entire judging panel of THAC 2024 as well. So, hello guys. How are we doing? Oh, actually, yeah. I probably should. I should actually say. I should introduce you properly. Actually, yeah. So we have to the top left we have Jay Silver. To the top right, the other side next to me is Rudy, and then in the bottom left we have AOW Gamer.
Hello there.
Yay. So, first off, I just want to say, huge congratulations for once again winning another THAC. Your first THAC in 7 years, which I think previously you also won that one as well. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to come back after a big hiatus, and good to do well as well, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just like COVID messed up my perception of time, but I still would have thought it never meant to be as, that's what, like 3 or 4 years ago, but...
Oh, yeah, I don't know, I kind of just want to, like, those 2 or 3 years of lockdown and COVID, I just want to, like, take out, like, I'm turning 27 this year, and I just want to be, like, can I just be turning 24 in non-COVID years? Because that's kind of what it more feels like.
Yeah. The rest of your life, turning 24.
Well, you're 24, but you haven't utilized all 24 years, right? I mean, there was some waste during COVID, and everyone wasted a bit of time.
Yep.
Got to stay forever young. Just consider all the years to have been unused.
Forever young.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
you go ahead.
I feel like we did talk about some of the topics related to you returning for THAC on the results stream, but I guess we can touch on them again.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, really, it was a surprise to me to think like, oh wow, I think that Lauren's entry is actually with a chance of winning again. I didn't expect that. To be honest, I thought it was going to be like reduced in scope. To the point where, I thought, he could probably do a top 10 entry even if he's trying to keep the scope down. I was really surprised.
Yeah, well,
this is a chance.
That's pretty much I thought it was pretty reduced in scope as well. But I guess I don't know. I cut pretty much every corner that I could, except for I guess I started off with a pretty strong concept and then just did everything to make that work. But yeah, I can. But you guys can probably take credit for doing the. You did the THAC call for your THAC history video, and sort of got me thinking about it again. After such a long break, and I think you and maybe William as well were oh, you should really give it a go. Even if you just do a token entry or something like that, you should try entering again. Which I didn't think I was going to enter until a couple hours after it actually started. Because I think I looked at the theme and I had a half decent idea. and then just decided to go for it at like, it starts at 10 p.m. for me, so I started working on it properly at about midnight. So it was basically just like in the moment, just deciding to pull an all-nighter and give it a go.
I saw the documentary you posted just today. And,
Yeah,
it
same.
was super chill.
Yeah, it was so chill, and especially after like, because previously like every THAC that I did was more ambitious and had more going on than the last one. Like, I think I did 5 consecutive years, and by the end, it was like, it was me and Sean Wharton, and then we had like a musician, a behind the scenes guy, and then usually at least one other person helping to build stuff as well. So it was like 4 or 5 people by the end, and like Never Meant to Be was really, really tough to finish. And like this one was just the complete opposite. Like I did like probably like a fraction of the work for this one, but I think it went into more, I don't know, I was doing a lot more fun stuff, I think, because I was doing it all by myself.
I kind of
sort
feel
of-
like you just gotten so strong with like just conveying the ideas in like, you know, the janitor video, like just the way the shots are selected, and like the sound design is really good as well. Like, it feels like you've gotten so strong at it that you can just sort of, you know, pull it out for THAC on a whim essentially, and it's just that good.
Yeah, my process is basically just like, I just play the movie back in my head over and over and over again until it all makes sense and it all works. So for this one, I didn't actually do a storyboard really. I just kind of think I kind of might have quickly drawn a couple of shots from it and just done those. Man, there's just like a big truck pulling up outside my house. I don't know if you can hear that.
I thought I could hear something.
It's
Completely
just like
silent.
slightly.
Nah, we're good.
Usually, luckily, Discord is very good at kind of like, you know, muting things that we don't want to hear. Actually, that is one thing I will say about like, because, you know, usually when we do the like the non like live stream episodes, is that like everyone's got their kind of their home recordings that are kind of like recorded separately, and while you do get like, you know, it's a different kind of quality, obviously, when it's like not sort of live streamed. But one thing you do get is just like every sound, like you can hear everything, which actually, to be fair, that is actually kind of what it's going to be like for on my side, because I'm on OBS. Obviously, I'm using the mic, so the quality is actually better for me than it is to everybody else. So so that it'll actually, you will hear stuff from my end, but yeah. I did want to actually kind of just say, I think we may have mentioned this. I'm not sure if we even mentioned this like on the previous podcast, or maybe we were just said this at some point. But I remember kind of like discussing where, like, you know, when you've had a gap between entering THACs, maybe that actually in some ways can make things easier, because you're not having to think like, you know, it's not so like recent where you're thinking like, oh, I've got to kind of, you know, it's got to be compared to the previous one. In some ways it's just kind of like, yeah, you know, I can make something that like isn't quite as insanely ambitious. It's a weird thing to say, but like not quite as like, you know, maddening to create, you know, something that's a bit more kind of like something that I can actually do that isn't trying to be like, oh, this time is even more epic or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I think in some ways it can just be like,
yeah, this one was just like, I wasn't making it to like be more ambitious, and I wasn't like making it to win. I just kind of I don't know, like part of entering was accepting like, oh, I'm not going to be able to meet the standard that I've set in previous THACs before, but I'm going to like try to approach it very differently to what I've done with those as well. So like I don't know, I focused a lot on efficiency, and like made a lot of choices that made the process a lot faster. Stuff like there's a few like looped animations in there that is kind of like reframed digitally, like making the sets and the characters as minimal as possible, putting all of the work into like one or two things and making sure that those work really well, and just like being, I don't know, and also doing it as a voiceover type of story helped a lot as well, because I was able to just sort of chop that up, rearrange it, and like condense it. Because you can tell a story really, really quickly when the voiceover is the thing driving it, because you don't need to have the I don't know, so the literal narrative things happening that have to like string things together. If you were making it more sort of like I don't know, like a real time story sort of thing, you're making it more like a recap.
I was going to mention that the voiceover was clever because, like, you know, obviously, if you look at something like Never Meant to Be, and it's like 2 minutes of back and forth between two characters in real time, like, you know, it's not a voiceover. It's like, because they're talking or singing the whole time, you want to have them moving the whole time.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's how I feel as well. Like, if somebody's talking, I can't just have them sitting there doing nothing. Like, they have to be moving. Yeah. So
yeah,
but if you saw Dara Toomey and Steve Collins' documentary from this year, like Dara Toomey was kind of having a bad time at some point in the documentary, kind of saying like, you know, oh my god, there's like 15 more lines of dialogue. This scene. So yeah, like
no, this one you can just like. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, this one, because it's like about a character being isolated, you can just have them like just sort of sit there in the middle of a dark room and then just have the camera zoom out and it tells the story. But yeah, Never Meant to Be definitely was like the complete opposite, where it's like the music is really driving it, and you need to like have that sort of like musical Broadway kind of characters jumping around and dancing, and it's just like like 5 times the work to just get like the basic building blocks to put it together. And also, like, the music, you can't shorten it. Like, you need to if you want to shorten it, you either have to like take out an entire verse, or it feels weird, and then like that creates a whole thing, so you end up with like a really set length that you have to meet. Whereas with this, I was just like, it was as long as it needed to be and not any longer than that.
And something that came up during the judging was sort of the question of like, is it like, should films be ranked higher if they have much more intricate animation, or like more going on in the animation side of things? And people always show up in the Discord and they ask like, is there any good advice for THAC? And usually what we tell them is like, try to reduce the amount of animation you need to do, because that's that's what eats up your time, is stop motion. And I kind of feel like it's novel and probably useful to try to encourage people to learn like how to be efficient in filming things, like, or to think about how to convey something without it being, you know, just the character is moving the whole time, so that conveys it. Like, it came down to the sort of the question of like, are we judging this as a film contest or as an animation contest? And like on Bricks in Motion, you know, we it's always going to be film contest. I mean, obviously, if something had like no animation, then we might think, okay, this is pushing it a bit far.
Well, yeah, I mean,
we're gonna have to change the name of THAC.
Well, yeah, we mentioned that during the judging. I did say something like, you know, we just have to live with the fact that it has animation contest in the name. It's too late to change it now.
Yeah, the acronym would suffer if you took the only vowel out.
Yeah, well then the acronym would become the fuck.
The fuck? Yeah.
We can't
Well, I mean,
have
like
that.
This wouldn't be
the best
appropriate.
animation isn't necessarily like the most animation. It's sometimes it's like the right amount of animation.
Yeah.
I mean,
feel
Because
like
the whole thing is like balancing everything to make it work.
I think
That's what,
It
there's-
kind of feels like inspired by anime with the efficiency.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've been looking at that a lot. Like I'll just like put on like a random episode of My Hero Academia or something, and just like look at how many frames they use. And like it is really kind of incredible, like how little animation there is in like sometimes like 5-minute stretches of it. But like the way that they the way that they use cinematography and they use like looping animations and like the way that the characters are so like expressive, you really don't necessarily pick up on just like how what's the word efficient it is with how little frames they're actually drawing for each minute or so of animation.
there's actually
I'm
something
trying to
that-
look. I'm looking for like what is it that they're doing that makes it so that you don't notice it if you're not looking for it.
That's definitely like something that I was because I was actually watching the your behind the scenes today of the your SCP film, and
Oh, yeah.
that was really interesting because you know
Great one, yeah.
you were talking about like how you know the I mean the point you mentioned you know throughout it you were talking about like oh yeah this would be the easiest way to do it, this would be the you know kind of ease of kind of you know the kind of workload. And it never occurred to me, like, whilst watching it, that, like, oh, yeah, you know, it is just, like, their hands and their heads that's, like, moving at, like, a certain point. Because it's so kind of, like, intricately done. Like, I mean, yeah, you're just not thinking about that. It just sort of works, if that makes sense. Like, in a way where, like...
Oh, you're talking about this is the CGI SCP film, not one of my Lego ones, but my most recent thing.
Yeah, the Legend of the Janitor Part 1, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that definitely is like I'm just taking the same approach across the board lately pretty much. And with like the next one that I'm working on, I'm just trying to cut out as much like walk cycle stuff as well. And just trying to like, because that's something that I noticed is like in a lot of anime, they don't like show the feet contacting the ground at all, and that just like makes things so much easier when it comes to animation. So I'm trying to like cut around just showing characters like walking from place to place, because it's like it's not usually that interesting, and it's like proportionally way harder to animate well.
Well, yeah,
So,
I mean,
yeah.
if you're talking about like you know films that just have like more animation, you know, there was obviously a lot of Brickfilms, and I guess you could say animation in general, where like they will focus on like there'll be a scene where they're just like walking, and it doesn't really convey much aside from their walking, and where if you take that out, it's like you realize you don't actually need that. And I guess that is kind of an example. Like if the animation is just like filler, then you know what's actually
like,
serving.
I do know people don't like to hear it because I can remember thinking the same. Where if somebody tells you, "Oh, you should cut out all of that walking," you're thinking to yourself, "But I put in all this effort to animate it."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I've animated probably like hundreds of hours of Lego figures walking at this point. Like I can animate figures like walking with my eyes closed. Like it's like because it's just like you do like a 4 to 6 frame cycle over and over again, and it's not really like with Lego like saying a lot of the time. I don't know. There's times to do it, and then there's times when it's just like, you know, you can probably just like cut that out and do like something more interesting.
Well, the thing for
So
me, yeah, you go ahead.
I just wanted to make a joke. Like, so you said you just can animate walking cycles with eyes closed. I want a picture of that, or it didn't happen.
Yeah, I reckon I could do it. Although when the figure falls over, that's probably when it's tough, because then you need like I'd usually need onions to fix it up. But I don't know. I reckon I could do it.
I mean, like I can remember like years ago when I was sort of less particular about like you know stuff being really, really fluid, like scrutinizing every frame. Yeah, I'd just be animating figures walking like with one hand. I'd barely be looking at the set.
I think that one of the things that I always kind of felt, like I think there was a certain point where, like, I had kind of been kind of thinking about this sort of like thing that people had been saying about like walk cycles and stuff, and just like, you know, saying like how like they're not necessarily the most important thing, and it made me think when I was like animating that one of the things I did feel about it was that I'm spending a lot of time, you know, doing this animation, but I'm not really conveying much like with a character or with the kind of style of animation, because you're essentially just doing like you said, like a 4 or 6 step like cycle, and it just like, to me, that's not really like, you know, I mean, I think there is ways of kind of like, if you're going to be animating a character walking, make it so they're not just walking. Like I think there was a scene in I did a lot of that in Ant-Man episode 6. There was like a huge, like, you know, 2-minute monologue with Mind Game, and I did kind of think about that when I was actually animating it, that like, or like even like sort of thinking about the concept of that scene, that like I've seen so many like 2-minute long Brickfilm sort of like monologues like this, but like the character would just be kind of like motionless standing, and I just kind of think like I wanted to kind of make it feel more cinematic, so the character is like walking around the room and he's sort of saying this stuff, and then with that I was able to kind of do a lot of like fun stuff, like, you know, move the character, have the character kind of like talking and walking, which was actually really fun. But I think and then it kind of made me think more then about like when I do show like characters walking, like are they actually doing anything other than just walking, you know?
I mean, as judges, we always judge like the whole panel thing, the whole thing. And for me, for example, it's like when I see a brick film, and we had like 160 this year. That's a number. I always have like at one point you have to like watch every single one of them, and then it's just like memorability, and especially when you have got something very rememberable about your brick film, and yours of course was memorable. I mean, when it was like just like, oh, that's the Tamagotchi one. Okay, it's just like always is very important is the like the idea or the image of something that you can relate to. And I think this was a great plus, very good positive thing for your brick film, actually.
Well, this one was like, it was because I was thinking about it a lot. I don't know. I've been kind of obsessed with the sort of this movement in indie animation on YouTube lately. With I think I got interested because The Amazing Digital Circus came out and was really, really popular. It's this huge animation, and then I realized like it has a lot in common with a bunch of other animations, and that sort of, and there's like kind of like a weird sort of group fandom around things like Five Nights at Freddy's and Has-Been Hotel, and sort of Homestuck and Undertale. And in analyzing all of this stuff, there was like a bunch of stuff in common that they all had, which was like nostalgia and like humor crossed with sort of creepy vibes. And so that's like what I was sort of like thinking about. And then my partner for Christmas got regifted some Tamagotchis that were theirs, that they had when they were like 8 years old or something. And it was just like, I was like, man, like I remember, like, because I had Tamagotchis and I have no idea where they went. They might be like completely lost to time. And it's like, and like that was, and I don't know, it seemed like it kind of felt like something, like I was like thinking about like, is there a story that you could tell with a Tamagotchi? And then like, or like a Tamagotchi being abandoned specifically. And then I saw the theme and it all just kind of like clicked together, that it would be like kind of like a Tamagotchi who's been abandoned by by his owner and is trying to like get back to his owner, like just or like and that was actually a big question about this was like, does the Tamagotchi does he hate the owner and wants to get revenge on him for abandoning him, or does he like miss the owner and like wants to get back to him like as a friend? And I ended up doing the latter because I guess like for a Tamagotchi, like you wouldn't ever have any other friend besides the human that interacts with you. So like I don't think you can, when it's like literally the only other contact you have, like you can't really afford to.
Yeah, how do you hate that?
Yeah. It's like
It's the only thing
I don't
that
know.
took care of you.
It felt a bit better.
I actually did think when I was watching it that like I mean in some ways you can read it in quite a few ways, because to me it kind of like I feel like it implies there could be quite a dark ending like beyond the story that you see. Like I think that some people like on the Discord were kind of interpreting it as like he dies when the kind of Tamagotchi falls over, but to me I kind of thought like if there was a way that he actually escapes, or like he can actually move in a Tamagotchi, I can imagine a story there which is kind of like, I don't know, he becomes like overly obsessive, or like he kind of messes with this person's life or something.
Yeah, the Tamagotchi falling over is like the perfect ending, man, because it's like not only is it can be interpreted as like, oh, complete hopelessness, like he's facing the ground, he can't see the outside world anymore, he failed, but it's like, well, you got strong enough to like actually impact the outside world for the first time, so there's also hope at the same time. You can look at it both ways, where it's like, well, he just failed, or you can be like, well, he just actually did something for the first time.
Yeah, well, what Rudy just said is pretty much what I was going for. Like it was, like the idea that it takes all of this, like so much effort and energy and training just to make this like tiny difference in the physical world, but it's like that's sort of the crack to like be setting off on your journey. So like I don't know. To me, like I can imagine like the Tamagotchi like gets better at like interacting with the physical world, and eventually you just have this Tamagotchi like rolling around like it's possessed or something. But also like it's also nice to like end on kind of like a button joke sort of thing, and that sort of felt good for the story.
I mean, to me it kind of felt like I could see this existing in the Toy Story universe. That's something that I felt.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I do feel like hearing you talk about stuff that you've been thinking about, it makes a lot of sense. Like watching something like this does make me think like, I'm sure it makes other people think the same. Like, how did he pull such a good concept out and such a good execution out in 24 hours? Like, to hear you talking about like that you were already thinking about like, things that work in like online video, and already thinking about like efficiency in animation, like studying anime and stuff, like in making the janitor CG video. Like you brought a lot from just studying and thinking before THAC, like not even for THAC, but just you bring it with you, and suddenly you can make this like exceptional THAC entry.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the trick, is like the idea that you go with is probably the most, like, will do the most for you in THAC, like, besides animation or, like, set building or anything. And it's like, if you've got ideas that you're thinking about and you can find a way to, like, plug that in, that works. At least that worked out pretty well for me this time, so...
It's funny, I had a similar idea before watching yours, where it was the same kind of from the perspective of a Tamagotchi, but this time it was like one with an owner who's very like attentive and very good at like taking care of the Tamagotchi, but then it's like an elementary school, like the person who would have a Tamagotchi takes it to school and trades it for one of a different color, and then the new owner is like neglectful and just like he like this Tamagotchi wants to go back to their old owner, and they're like, why'd you betray me? Why'd you leave me with this snot-nosed kid?
Yeah, you know, like I did sort of have the feeling watching the documentary that you posted, the feeling where it's sort of like you're kind of like, well, I think I'll enter THAC. Finish my video. Yeah, it won. It seemed.
Yeah, well, I think it was just like I got so stressed out in the last few THACs that I did that it was just like for this one it was just like I was totally okay with like not placing top 3 or anything like that. I just wanted to make something that was like hopefully good but also like didn't kill me in the process. So it's and I think maybe I'm also just like, I don't know, is post several years of burnout, just not like feeling like, I don't know, like everything has to be like the biggest thing ever.
Yeah. You know, the documentary kind of made it feel like there was essentially nothing to it, but in hearing you talk about all the things that you think about and study and such, like there is so much more to it.
I also think as well,
Yeah,
like,
I don't know. Well, it's like,
you know, sometimes it comes with the actual discussion, like thinking, you know, sort of thinking it through, like afterwards, where you kind of come to realize like the work you've put into something. Like I definitely found that. I mean, I found that because obviously with the podcast, I've actually talked about some of the films I've done, like for Brawl and stuff, and like quite often it's like, oh yeah, this is the point where like I actually contextualize and kind of explain things I was thinking about, and I think, oh, actually, yeah, I was doing more than I thought I was doing. You know.
Yeah, I remember after your entry, the Brawl one with the lemon pie. I messaged you. I was like, I love how you use like the like faded bricks for the roof of the convenience store to like simulate like one of those like old like roofs that you would have in like those warehouses, and you were just like, oh, my Like it was just old.
And like something else that someone said about that film was that I really liked the color grading you did to make it feel like a supermarket, and it was just I didn't color grade it. I just happened to have like the lights I was using at that point were just really kind of like they made things look very kind of like bluish greenish, kind of like very kind of cold looking.
Yeah.
It just so happened that I didn't have time to actually color grade it, but it just actually it looks right for that setting. Basically,
that's the perfect lighting for like cheap lights bouncing off cheap linoleum flooring, just like
perfect.
Yeah, sometimes they're just like happy little accidents, right?
Yeah.
But there was something I was gonna say to kind of add to that. Maybe that was the point I was going to say. But so something I did want to kind of bring up before we kind of like talk about like the other like entries was that basically Jay, I noticed you once again in quite a few entries. I think you were like, I don't know if it was like 20. It did seem as though you were in about 20 entries. But
I can't remember this year.
I did want to kind of point out that something that's just been on my mind recently with like when you were on you posted that big thread like on Discord about like the voice acting and the kind of like guidance side of things, I mean, the main reason why I brought this up is just I wanted to kind of like shout you out for that, because I think it's a really nice thing to kind of like to do, it kind of makes me think back to like not try and get too kind of like thinking back to the old days, but like when we had like the forums, there were a lot more kind of threads that were kind of in depth like that, and I'm hoping that we can kind of continue doing things that are kind of like the updated version of that, where we're kind of like giving just like
my god,
long advice sort of threads things.
I think it would be.
Sorry, I don't know if you heard my alarm just go off. It's the loudest buzz.
I didn't hear it.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
This was so good.
But Jay, what were you saying?
I totally agree. If there was a good if there was a good place to do it. I don't know, Discord seems a little bit funny, but maybe I don't know, maybe if there was a separate channel for that sort of stuff. I hesitate to say expert advice, but just I don't know, some sort of resource like that I think would be a good idea. I get a lot of film creators reach out, even in the when they're posting looking for a voice, they'll just say I'm looking for a voice, and I think they're trying to be helpful by saying like it's this sort of character, but there's no detail there, like it's an assassin, let's say, but there's really no information there about are they old, where are they from, like what's like, are they like a cool assassin, are they like a wild crazy one? And just I think more threads like that, and threads that incorporate the sort of stuff that we were just talking about well, maybe you don't want to do walking all the time. Like maybe that's not an efficient use of your time. Like some storytelling things, I think it would help a lot of people to get. They'd end up making with less resources, be it time or whatever. It would help them to get a movie that they can feel proud of. They would get more for their buck, really. Because I think a lot of people do brute force these things. Like there's a lot of walking, like, man, that was so hard and I just can't. And then their movie is over. I'm not just talking about THAC entries, but they just run out of steam. Like, what am I getting in return for all this animating I'm doing that is walking? Yeah, I think we could use more threads like that.
Yeah. Of course, Discord does have its ups and downs.
Well, it's good to bring up because I feel like voice acting is probably like the last thing you're thinking of when you're like starting out making a brick film. You're like, okay, I need to learn how to edit, film it, do the animation, whatever. The last thing you're thinking of, even after sound design, is like, oh, I need to like properly cast these people and like direct them and like get exactly what I want out of them, which is like, that's a skill that you need to develop for sure.
It's funny because even sometimes if I have been selected for a thing, then I'll ask, okay, well, what are the lines? Like they don't always have an audition line ready to go. It's like, okay, well, can you give me a line that I'm saying the words that you want to hear, and so you can hear what it sounds like? Because otherwise, I can make up whatever, and it's not necessarily going to help you. But even sometimes when I do get the lines of the actual script, they will send me just the lines. And sometimes you get like, "Hey, how you doing? Yay!" I was like, I don't know what this yay is. We need an actor needs context for what it is. It's going to help you get what you want in the end. Yeah. And it's so funny because I know that they are picturing it like you were saying before about you picture the whole thing in your mind. What's working, what doesn't work. I don't think everybody's thinking it to the same degree that you are, but they have it in their head that yay is going to be a certain sound and spoken a certain way, just with somebody else's voice. Like none of that's coming across in your script. Or you'll get some specific lines. If I do get a full script, there'll be some specific lines to say, and then there'll be a paragraph where they fight. And like sometimes it'll go through the descriptions of the fighting, like, do you want any us or us? And a lot of times people go, oh yeah, I'd really like to have that sort of stuff. Like, okay, again, I'm going to be making it up what it sounds like when this guy gets punched in the face, or what they fight really means. I like to try and think I'm giving them a good variety, but somebody that doesn't do it as much as I would might not give them that sort of variety, or even think to do it at all.
Yeah. And I'm sure that like most of us probably did start out when we were starting out, we would have just sent people just their lines, no context or anything. Like I'm pretty sure I did that.
But it like, really depends where you were coming from, right? I mean, when you have like the image of like for me, for example, I've got a very many friends. They are like in the dubbing scene with all these enemies and this stuff, and I got confronted quite early with like voice acting, with like having this expression, with like having different characters voicing and expressing personality through your voice. It's not only just like voice or having a very deep low voice. It's just like you get into that character and do something like a role play thing. You're like an actor, like an actually actor, and therefore I had to smile a little bit grinning as you said, Rudy. Yeah, voice acting maybe is one of the last things you're thinking about when you're thinking about making a brick film, and I was like, that's the first thing I do.
Yeah, I will say when I made this one, like I had Chris from Mini Life TV in mind when I was writing it, but like I had no idea if he was going to be available to do it. Like I just like it was literally like last minute, like, hey, THAC's happening right now. Would you be able to do a voice acting thing for me? I'm just so glad I'm like good enough friends with him that I can do that, and he's totally up for it. And he does a really good job too. He's done a bunch of voice acting training, and has a process and like has some really good ideas. Like he did this cool thing where he spoke in a deep voice and then pitched it up, so it gives it like this kind of like heroic but like cartoony sort of sound. I don't know. It was like he gave me a couple options, and it was definitely the best one. But it was really really interesting that he made that choice.
I remember I did he's done some voice acting for me as well in the past, and he did the voice of it was in my film 96.1 where he plays like a radio DJ, and yeah, like he did like he did full kind of like I gave him like a rough draft of the script, and he kind of read through like the like whole thing, and he kind of like did so much improv. It was crazy, but also he did like 2 different versions that were really different. So he was like, well, here's the voice this is the version I did. He's a British radio DJ, and then this one's like he's from California, and just like completely different like voice actors, and then yeah, like I didn't ask him to do that. He just kind of like read the script and was like, hey, I think I've got some ideas based on this, and just like recorded it. And yeah, shout out to Chris, he's great. But
yeah, with Jay's voice actor availability thread, we were looking at that thinking like that was so nice and a great idea to like not just post, oh, here is the voice actor availability thread, put your name down here, but to include this guide, like with this advice that we have in our minds. We're always thinking like, oh, if somebody asks me to do voice acting, I hope that they send a full script. I hope that they send some direction.
Yeah.
To actually write all that and advise people is really useful. And it's like with Discord, it would be nice if we had these like pinned threads, things that could like sort of live a long time. But I guess if you do like a voice actor availability thread for the next Brawl or the next THAC, I guess you could just copy paste the same guide from the previous one.
Yeah, just
have it show up every year.
Just do what I do with the thread, which is like it's like 80% just copy and pasted from previously. Yeah, and then
change the year.
And then I was doing that when I did this year, and I looked and I realized that it said at the end, if you want to share, if you like on social media, use the hashtag THAC2022, and so I didn't change it last year because I was copy and pasting the last year's one. I was like, oh, I'm gonna change that to 2004. But yeah, so that's what was I going to say? Oh yeah,
people are wondering like, why is every year THAC 2022 from now on? The hashtag never changes.
But yeah, actually, I'm wondering if we want to kind of like start talking about the other entries, or if you want to kind of head on towards that point.
Real quick, I did want to mention that Forlorn's last documentary for the entry they did with the guy who turns into a cyborg. I can't remember the name of the film.
Never Meant to Be.
That's the one. Yeah. I watched that documentary like when it came out before this was like years before I would ever like know about BIM or what THAC was. And I remember thinking like THAC, and this was like my only like interaction with it for a couple of years, just being like, this is something for like professionals. Like I'm not entering this. Like like watching you with your team and how like stressed you were and just like lying down in bed like completely dead after it, and I was like, this is not something for teenagers. Nope.
Yeah, that's why I didn't enter it for 7 years.
That's so
Oh
funny.
yeah, there was a comment on your new documentary from Chazen that said something like, "Oh, I remember watching Never Meant to Be when I was 11."
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just thinking like, oh, I mean,
Oh,
he's like
yeah,
18
yeah.
now. Like that's just like,
Yeah, it's like that's
that happen?
Yeah, time passes.
And that's kind of crazy to think about, because that means that he is the same age that I was when we started the podcast, and
Wow.
and when you were last on the podcast, Thomas.
Oh right. Oh wow.
yeah, you were one of the first podcast episodes, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that was like the sometime post Brawl, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
It was
I feel like
about
it was a
6
Brawl
months ago.
special.
Oh yeah, I know what it was. It was we recorded it the day like before the result. Like it was like we were doing it during the day before the results came out, and we recorded it. And I think then we like literally the next day we recorded the like Brawl special with the winner. I think.
Oh right, gotcha.
Yeah, which was Sanjira, I think, that year. Yeah.
I've just gone onto the episode with Forlorn, like from 2018, and it's currently unavailable for a copyright claim.
Yeah, I actually I re-uploaded it in 2019.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Got to change the link on the wiki. So
Okay.
yeah, we had. I actually even like did a video about the whole thing because we talked about the intro to Pokemon. There was I showed clips of Pokemon, and it turned into this whole copyright issue because there's like this company called ShowPro, and they kind of just like own a lot of things, and they just kind of like copyright claim video. It was like blocked worldwide. Really annoyed me, but yeah. So that was
Yeah, this podcast with like clips of Pokemon at the beginning, it's competing with our Pokemon show. We can't have it on the internet.
yeah.
Kids are gonna get confused. They're gonna be like, "Is this Pokemon or is this podcast episode Pokemon?"
Pokemon the podcast.
Podcamon, I don't know. I was trying to think of something that doesn't really work.
Podcast.
There is a
One.
stop motion. There's a stop motion Pokemon. We don't have to talk about it, but it's on Netflix. It's good. Check it out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's my Pokemon ad. Hey up, Nintendo.
So the next evolution
yeah.
of podcast mon is like the live stream mon. Just have
We're
like
live now, aren't we? We're doing that now.
Yeah.
Where are the Pokemons?
But yeah, I'm feeling like it's probably a good time to kind of start doing the I would say top 10, but technically we're doing more than that, because so we're actually going to be we're doing the top we're doing 25th, 24th and 23rd place, then followed by the top 10, and I'll explain why. Basically during the live stream of the results, we had this I had this issue with OBS where it was as I was announcing the entries, it was playing the video audio, which I didn't intend, and it wasn't playing my audio. So essentially, it was just playing the video and me talking but mute. So because of that, I decided that we would talk about the first couple of entries, which were like, because I didn't get to really hear what we were saying about the films. So we'll start off with 25th place, which I haven't actually remembered to have the name
Journey
ready.
Ahead.
It's
Journey Ahead was 25th.
Yeah, it was Full Lens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait,
the
no,
Castaway's,
that's Castaway's Dream. my
Castaway's
bad.
Dream. Yeah, yeah,
I
but
guess I'm looking at the judging panel. I think it's wrong.
Oh right, yeah. So 25th place is Castaway's Dream by Formal Lens, which starting off really strong, like in a really good, visually really interesting one, and yeah, I really like this one. I really like the set of the he's like on that train, and
Yeah.
it looks really cool. Yeah, if we don't know if...
One of those sets where I say it's like it's useful in how kind of the train like that you can make it sound kind of simple and it can repeat like a bunch of times along. That's really useful and efficient for THAC.
Yeah, I do like the kind of I can kind of see how you'd be able to kind of I don't know how this is necessarily made, but it kind of looks like you'd be able to kind of just use that
Use
same
the same
kind of
chunk a bunch of times. Yeah.
just swap around the direction, and
I like how they did the waves at the very beginning. I've seen a lot of Lego waves, but I've never seen one like that. I like that they get white as they get closer to the lake breaking. Looks nice.
Is that kind of like what was it, the Left Field Studios Star Wars movie from back in the day? I feel like
Good disturbance.
Yeah, I feel like it had a beach scene with waves kind of like that, but I don't think it was exactly the same. But they are nice looking waves. Yeah, the lighting in this one's quite nice. Like about a minute in, there's like a nice top light on this like purple building with like the angel wings and the crocodile head guys. Like there's some really nice compositions and colors and lights in this.
Yeah, we lost
Jay
somebody.
Silver says he has to leave.
Oh wait.
But he doesn't want to interrupt.
He needs to go do some more voice acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for joining us, Jay.
Yes, we're appreciative to have Jay. We must do a podcast episode with Jay on his own.
Yeah.
Just about voice acting. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
you should like try to find every single film he's voice acted in.
Oh my gosh. That would be...
He probably doesn't know like half of them by this point.
Wait, I said what?
Yeah, I was talking to him earlier, and he was saying how like sometimes he's this is one there. I think this is actually a conversation from like maybe a year ago. But he was talking about how he's like, yeah, sometimes I'm watching something and I'm like in it, and it'll just like my character will start speaking. I'll be like, hey, that's me. What? Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's like there's that one voice actor in Pixar movies, the
John
that
Matzenberger.
I think he's the one who does like the pig in Pixar, in Toy Story, and like the truck in Cars, and like
he's got
is always in there.
Particular voice.
Yeah. But it's just that, but for like the entire genre of brick filming.
You have to wonder how many brick films has he recorded lines for that never got released.
Oh man.
Lost
be a
in
lot.
the abyss. The unspoken lines of Jay.
Well, I mean, sometimes it can feel like a lot even for those of us who don't do super regular voice acting.
I'm sure you could write a feature-length film if you just took all of Jay Silver's lines,
Unused lines.
database.
Yeah. You just make a soundboard, and then like you just have the Jay Silver character.
Maybe it's you can even go a step further and just like feed an AI with his voice, and now you've got artificial Jay, and he doesn't have to do one single line ever again. It would be perfect, wouldn't it?
If anyone's earned it, he has. Yeah,
I mean,
That kind of kills the vibe.
Yeah, that's what the Disney are doing, isn't it? With
are they?
yeah, with Darth Vader. I think that the actor
They're making a Darth Vader Vocaloid.
But he kind of retired. He's retired from acting, but like he said that he gave permission for Disney to kind of like generate his voice in AI and continue Darth Vader as James.
Why not recast him?
because technology.
It's like it's a pretty easy voice to recast. I mean, so much of it is like they run so many filters over it. Like you could have anyone.
Yeah, I mean,
voicing
like
Darth Vader.
they could be recasting a lot of other stuff too that they're not. But
Yeah,
that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
That sucks that he's retiring. He did a good job.
Earl's
God
millions
bless.
of dollars out instead.
but to be fair, he's kind of earned it. He's like 90 now. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't have the same like vocal abilities that he did like even like 20 years ago. So like,
Well, they recast like the whole cast of Mario, and they sound great. The new voice actors. So it's definitely possible to recast like a beloved character.
Definitely, but I mean, there are some things that like are very in favor of the AI thing, and one thing is money.
Yeah,
if you voice actors constantly do cost money, and AI is like you have to like a web developer doing stuff once, and then you've got a voice for like forever.
yeah.
I do. I mean, I know we should be talking about the THAC entries, but I do
Yeah.
want to say that, like, whenever I see a brick film that has like AI voices credited as the source for the voices, it just feels so lame to me. It's like I'd much rather some actual character, like even if it's just a kid doing all the voices themselves. Like at least that has some like humanity. It says something about the creator of the brick film, at least.
There's actually-
Yeah,
something to it.
they
There's-
can't make artistic choices for you, and they can't surprise you like with like the weird stuff that Chris did for my film. Like
Or
an AI
even-
wouldn't think of that.
Well, it's funny how
Even,
we've
like,
completely
just-
rejected it here.
I feel like there is also another side of it, which is like YouTube poop as well. Like,
Yeah, the sentence mixing.
the sentence mixing is
I
like way.
love
Or
it.
the
Yeah.
TF2 like films where they take the little clips from the TF2 voice lines and they make like full sentences and conversations.
Like I saw
It's
there's
incredible.
there's a YouTuber one of the like YouTube poopers called Very Tall Bart, and he does like these like YouTube poops of like Donald Trump and Biden and stuff. And what makes it really funny is that like he's actively kind of like found those clips and he's kind of like mixing these like sentences together. He did actually do a couple of videos that were like AI voices, and it's just not. It's just it doesn't have the same comedic. Like I watched like for like literally like a minute, and I was like, this is just not funny to me. Like
No.
seeing
Yeah,
it like
it's funnier to know that he had to source all the clips. Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, it's actually it would be a new genre. YouTube poop is like the creative, maybe a bit, a surrealistic art of cutting all the syllables and all the things they say in maybe in 5 different clips or together to a new piece of sentence, or maybe I've seen songs recreated with all these chopping up these sometimes only vocals, and it's a complete different thing. One of my buddies who also does like these AI voice things, voiceovers, where he has like I think clips of The Witcher, and he just has like the AI thing of Geralt, and it's completely new genre. It's not like comparable to a YouTube poop, and I think it's still a form of art if you do that. Yeah.
It's similar to the like in Japan they have the Vocaloids where they're seen like the software is seen as like literally an instrument, where it's like, oh, this is like, you have to like put in a lot of work to get the singing to sound good, or the rapping or the talking, whatever like part of your song you're using the Vocaloids for. And it's really similar to the AI voice stuff that we have now that we're like rejecting so hard. But I would say the only difference is like the AI voice, you just type it in, it like spits it out for you, versus the other one is like a software you have to learn how to use. You have to tweak it really, really like fine tune it.
I think
you have
people
much more
have
control over
a
it.
keen kind of like eye, or I guess in this case like an ear for like when things are like actually have work to them, and when people like actually, it's not just like, oh yeah, someone just like bought this subscription for this thing and just like typed this thing in and it's all done. Like there is something about, you know, software that's, you know, like quite intricate and, you know, it actually has like some thought put into it. Like, because you could easily make the same argument about like, you know, going from like the 80s onwards about like electronic music, that like, oh, you know, people aren't using real instruments, but like there is a lot of effort put into, well, you know, you have to know music, you have to be good at music to be able to...
did make that complaint all the time, you know, everyone would roll their eyes at it.
I think that, like, you know, with any technology, especially when it's new, people are going to always see a lot of the cons, and there's going to be ways of using things which are going to be like not good, but you know, over time people find like good things, you know, to do stuff. But yeah, I do want to kind of like continue talking about the THAC entries, so before we continue to tangent too much. So I go on 24th place, which was The Journey On Ahead by ForlornCreature. And this was a good one. It was I forgot it was only a minute and 22 seconds. It feels like, I say it feels longer. It sounds like a weird thing to say, but I mean, I mean it in a good way. Like, yeah, a lot seems to be kind of happen in that one time, and it was quite, it was.
Films can feel longer either in a bad way or a good way.
yeah.
But I've got in my notes for this one that that hat fight is cool.
Definitely. We talked about that in our judging panel. Also, I really liked. I really love the pun, like Journey On Ahead.
Yeah.
It's just my kind of humor. He got extra points from me for that.
Definitely. You mentioned like entries having something particularly memorable about them, and yeah, you know, this is the type where you're like, which one was that again? Oh yeah, it's the one where sentient hats have a fight.
Yep.
How could I forget?
Yeah, and it's I think it's also just like, it's a very stylish fight as well. There's like flashing and they're like cartwheeling through the air, and like I think they must like be swapping out different colored hats to make it seem like they're flashing or something like that. And there's like impact frames and stuff. Like,
I really like the shot where he pulls the leaves apart, and he's like walking through the jungle. I think it's really stylish.
I do love the way the hats talk.
Like about 40
when the hat is on the head and it's just like wobbling and leaning all over the place to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels very like we were talking about like it feels very like Sonjira kind of like wackiness.
Yeah.
But not with a typical Sonjira top-down animation shots, right?
Yeah, this is like early, more like that old, like that brawl that I did my last podcast for. The one that won was Sonjira's Head Loops.
Oh yeah,
Is it Head Loops?
Head Loose.
Yeah.
Head Loose was before he was doing like top-down shooting.
I think Pico was the first time that they tried that.
It feels wrong to say that it's like more normal, because compared to everyone else, it was still like, you know, more crazy and more like unique. But yeah, like it had figures standing on the ground on their feet.
to be honest, I feel like Sonjira would be the first person to kind of like happily say that films like Pico were not normal.
Yeah.
But I do really like this entry. I think it's got a nice little story. I think it's kind of you know, it has a good ending. Like it kind of does what it wants to do, which is like an important thing for THAC. I do like the line, all hats can talk, even if you only if you choose to. But
that's such a brilliant line. I mean,
it's very grandiose. Yeah,
it has like this philosophical essence in it. Actually, when I was in high school, I did have philosophy class, and in one of my first classes, we came to the conclusion that tables would write books if they could. And this line reminds me about this special philosophy class, the first lecture, and I was like, okay, it returns.
Cats would get into street fights if they could.
Definitely. I mean, we've got the proof. We've got the pictures. They do a street fight, actually.
I was watching the because I actually do. Oh yeah, so a cool thing that you guys actually on this stream probably don't know. I've actually kind of prepared like clips of these films to kind of be playing like a normal episode of the podcast. So like as we're talking now, we've got like the Journey on Ahead is just like playing on loop, and as I'm watching it, one of the things that in my mind like made me think to say was like one of the things I really like about the fight scene is so you've got all these like flashes and things going on, and there's actually like a couple of frames where it's literally just like it's just black with like sort of scribble kind of like sort of like a flash kind of thing, and then it cuts back to the animation. And it's so quick that like you don't really register it. It's just kind of like, you know, it just feels like a you know, dynamic kind of
that's
thing.
That's the anime style impact frame.
Yes.
I was just framing through and seeing that before. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's like
the duel.
They do it with like swords a lot. Which is
the speed lines and the sound lines. Sometimes it's just like comic art. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Namchild did some of those impact frames where like it's black for just a frame or two. But I think Namchild did them all in camera in the same shot.
Oh yeah. They were like long exposure light streak things from memory. No, that's a cool animation.
You could still see the silhouette of the figures. It was I could hardly wrap my head around how he did it all in camera.
Which film?
The Duel.
The Duel by Namchild. It's a classic. If you haven't watched it, check it out.
I was wondering if you were talking about another entry, but I don't think I've seen that one.
I remember when I saw it first, I thought, that has to be digital. But then he says somewhere like in the description probably that everything is in camera.
Nice. I just want to highlight a comment. Lego Lightbulb says, "Why are they saying like so much?"
That's because we're not edited this time.
Yeah. This is what it's like when it's not edited. Yeah.
That's what it's like.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm not lying though. The amount of times where I'm listening to myself like afterwards,
listening back,
and I cut out. I try and cut out half the likes that I say, but it's still a lot of likes.
I have an excuse. It's the Miami accent. I don't know what your guys' excuse is. Aren't you from like Europe or something?
We say it a lot in Ireland as well,
and the UK as well. Yeah,
everywhere.
Everyone uses fillers.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. It's one of those weird things where it's a filler word. Where if you, especially when you're like on a call, you want to kind of quickly be like, I'm the one talking. It's okay, because if you stop talking, then someone else is going to interrupt you.
You gotta hold.
I do cut out like half of them in like the THAC history video and stuff. I feel like if I cut out all of them, suddenly it starts to sound too unnatural.
Yeah, like you're a robot, or it sounds like rehearsed, kind of.
I mean, that's something that I always try and do with the podcast in general. The edited ones is that I try and make it so that it doesn't feel like it's been edited. In a way where it's like when you actually see an unedited episode, you realize that then you realize it's edited. But then hopefully that just makes you appreciate the edited ones more. But yeah, getting back into I guess I'm talking about 23rd place. We've got not Like Elephant. Wait, no, it's not. Journey? It's a Hero's Journey by Flannel Shirt Guy, which was really.
This was the The THAC 2023 one.
Oh, the logo at the start. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
That
great
would
logo.
that would have sucked.
Imagine if we were like, no, we can't qualify it because the
It's
THAC
the wrong
2024 logo wasn't
The
there.
wrong logo.
Yeah.
Like really early THAC would have disqualified it.
It's possible, yeah. Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, you made the
Um,
6-minute entry, but you put the wrong TAC logo on for 3 seconds.
I ranked this one third place in my initial rankings before we like combined all of our lists together. It's long, but I really liked it. I thought it was funny.
Mm.
Yeah,
And it's-
I really like the elements of when there's like a drawn map or something.
Yeah.
That always has like slides in or blends in sometimes. For me, I really love to implement other things like drawings into my my brick films. And this one was like, oh yes, it's like a map or something in the background to tell like the story of that, and I really appreciated that.
And it's a great way to have like some kind of like something going on when there's no actual animation for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It does it
I
does
will
its job
say,
there.
like, even with those very still frames, like this is like an over 6 minute long animation, and a lot of it is fully
A lot of
animated,
it,
and it's
yeah.
like I don't.
There's a lot of stuff happening in this film.
Yeah, I don't like. Is it just one person animating it? Because that's like it's so much.
Yeah,
It
I
is.
agree. I look at this and I think I couldn't have made this.
Yeah. Like I would pass away at like 3 minutes. Like, and yeah.
I will
love,
say yeah.
The
Actually,
dragon character cracked me up so much. Like when he knocks out the the wizard and the dragon just freaks out and flies off. I don't know why the like it's just animated really like frantically. And like the voice acting matches perfectly. It's really funny.
Something that did actually occur
Yeah,
to
I
me when I was watching it, like on repeat, was that I really like the sort of the tone in which like it seems as though, you know, like the main wizard and like the dragon and everything, they're not actually kind of taking it seriously. It's almost like it almost feels like they're kids kind of like sort of playing, and then when the knights take it seriously, it's like, wait, what on earth? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they all go peach color for one scene, or is that just the color grading?
Did they what?
I think the camera
Like 3.5
was,
minutes in.
Oh, it's just like super green. Yeah.
Yeah.
When they're in the dungeon.
Yeah.
I think
was
that
getting cute.
it looks digital. I'm happy, but I think because of the glow on the skeleton,
Right.
it looks digital.
The color grade, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, you mentioned that like at 3 minutes you'd pass away, and yeah, I did TAC 13 entry called Benny and Lee in Death Comes Robbing.
Oh, yeah.
Straight animation. And I felt like that was the absolute max I could do. Like, that was, you know, flat out like to the max. I was like, okay, wow, I did a 3-minute TAC entry of all dialogue. Like, I never want to do that again.
Yeah. That's like I don't know. I can forgive the logo mistake because like I just like your brain would just be completely fried.
You'd forget what year it is anyway.
agree,
You'd think
yeah.
it was 2023 at that point.
What year is it?
But I do, yeah, I really like how much of a complete story this film is. Like, it feels as though, you know, yeah, it's very coherent as a story. It has a beginning, middle, and end, which I say that is like a very basic thing to say, but I just think it's like, I think that's impressive in THAC, you know. And yeah, no, I think it's really good. I'm sort of buff. What was it? I feel like there was something I just wanted to say because I did actually review this I did mention this to, because I think it was Flannel Shirt Guy who actually commented on the stream to say about how he'd like to hear like us sort of hear what our thoughts were, and that's the reason why
during the stream.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to kind of like talk about these three, so that they get a chance to actually hear us discuss them, you know. But good job on this. I think it was really good, really solid, and it didn't feel like it was too long. But I guess we should.
I think it's time to skip ahead to 10.
Yeah. Let's just skip ahead all the way to number 10, with "Bury That Body" by Joko. So as to be expected with Joko, it's very energetic. Like so much happens in the one time, and
I love this one.
Yeah, so it's so kind of. I remember I was laughing a lot when we were first watching this. It's like
the animation of the lady falling down the stairs and dying is
so good.
It hit really well,
and I think it works so well because the scene right before, she's like lounging casually on this like big sofa, and she's got her arms like this, and and it just goes from that in seconds. He pushes her out the door so quickly, and she just flies down the stairs, man. And I like how this is frame by frame. There's one that's where she's like completely split in half. You don't really see it, but it works so well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, one framer, in half.
But sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I like how the film is like about like housing. It feels very timely, I guess.
It's very relatable. the idea that like they're so desperate for they're so desperate for a house that they would just like help this landlord just get rid of this body so that they can live in this place.
Oh man,
I really like the ambitious thing where they try to bury the body, and like they are only 2 seconds a shot of like when they're at like the construction site, or like the cannon where he wants to push it in there. There are so many different sets that had to build up just for like 2 seconds. I'm always like, building sets is like the most annoying thing for me. How did he get all these different sets just for like 2 seconds and have still like a whole story about that? That's crazy.
Yeah, I'd lose my mind after like the second set. Like that's the thing, and it's like it's so these short like scenes. It's crazy.
There's like 7 or 8 in total.
Yeah, and
it's a lot.
I know he was kind of pushed to the limit and like considers this to be like kind of unfinished.
Yeah.
But it's still.
Yeah, I think was he working on a?
Is working until the last second.
But was he like making more animation or something to like finish off the film?
So I accepted his. I remember he got it in like a couple minutes late, but it was like enough where like he showed me that it was rendering out, and I was like, that's fine. And he told me. Actually, I can pull up the message. He says, honestly, this THAC was even more of a fever dream than usual, so I'm going to need some sleep before I can work out what the hell I've just made. And then he says, looks like I did over half the animation in the last 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I was like,
oh wow.
Jesus Christ, man. Okay.
How? Like I just don't...
We were in a call at the point, and I messaged him. I was like, do you wanna join the voice call? Like I just told everyone that you did that. And he's like, all right, go on, why not? And I remember he joins the call, and he's just completely fried. Like you can see it, like you can hear it in his voice. Like the guy's barely there.
I gotta say, like, because I'm watching these videos on loop as we speak, and that animation of her like falling down the stairs is it's so good.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh every time. It's like,
I like her falling down the stairs.
5 frames. It's like
And I like all of the stomping on her body and is very funny.
There
just-
is some
yeah.
roughness to it that is apparent. But like the stuff that hits just hits so hard that it ranked here.
I think as well, there's something about the concept of just the kind of dark comedy of like trying to just dispose of a dead body. It's just really funny.
Yeah.
Also, it's like I always thought about like these ASDF movies because it's also a dark humor and also very random. At some point, it was like, okay, this could have been made by Tom Scar actually.
Oh, and also, I could be wrong because I'm just watching the clips that are repeating, but I don't think there's any walking. Like they just scoot around, or they just like appear where they need to be. Like it works so well. Like we were talking about not animating walking. I don't think there's any walking. In
This is an anti-walking podcast.
Actually,
Wheelchairs only.
I like to follow an animator, German animator. She's called Cold Mirror. She's a very big number in German YouTube, and she not only has like a very specific relationship to Harry Potter, but she does her own cartoons, like the Japanoschlampen, which would actually translate into an insult, like anime bitches. And there she also did like a TED talk, some sort of thing, like a podcast, 30 minutes, where she also mentioned this: don't animate legs. It's just a waste of time, and you never get the thing. It never gets right. And actually, I somehow adapted the way she goes on with her animation, because the first thing she does is like writing a script and then just speaking it out and having like a podcast or something like that. And when she's like, yeah, when it works like a podcast, then it will work when I animate it too.
I've never heard of that. Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's actually how I build up my stories. And I guess even if we don't see the clips of like they're stomping on the old lady, I think it will still work if you just hear it and you create it all in your imaginations. And these are like the best stories, I think. That you can just have like the audio and still have like the full image of what is happening.
It's like the old radio shows in the 50s where they would have like a guy who was really good at making sounds, and he would just there would be like a narrator and then one dude making like horse sounds or whatever, like like Little Orphan Annie in the 50s and stuff like that.
Yeah. I will say
the YouTube chat.
I want to say to combat the walk cycle slander, I should probably bring up Feud of Brick Hill, the animation I did with the Lego space guys.
Yeah.
Because that was a film where I like specifically tried to get personality into the walk cycle, and I think
we bring up Feud of Brick Hill like as an example of like, oh hey, you know. Has anyone in brick filming ever thought of, you know, not just using a rigid cycle and actually giving characters character? Here's an example.
But yeah,
yeah. So like it can be, but it just takes a lot more work.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of animation walk cycles, here's an entry that has some walking in it, but is really good. It is Dangerous to Go Alone by Mind Game Studios.
It was an excellent segue.
Yeah, it's got short leg walking as well.
I love this entry.
Yeah, I love this one too. This one's great.
It's just so
I think
polished.
Yeah, it looks great. It's animated really well. The shot choices are great.
Yeah.
I think it's all shot on or a lot of it's shot on a probe lens by the look of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he really uses it for some like novel framing and like I don't know, like comedic framing and stuff like that.
I think the way
It's
in
very
which
cool.
There's a lot of handing all the things. It's a great
Yeah.
comedic shot.
I think that the way in which it's sort of built up, it's very good kind of comedic kind of like storytelling in terms of the cinematography. I think because you see all these things being handed over, and then at the end of the film you see this horse struggling with all the stuff. Only at the end.
Yeah.
The quivering horse.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, like,
but
this is-
I think it has like the same concept as like the Johnny Thunder thing, where it's like more of like the preparation for the journey ahead in another comedic style actually, and I really like that. Even though if both are quite alike from the idea, the execution of both are so different, and it always is amazing how different some people come up with, even having like a very similar or the same idea actually.
Yeah, the premise is very similar, but the joke at the end is completely different, because one is like completely self-caused. Johnny Thunder's like the one getting all this stuff, and then he forgets the map. Versus this one, it's like this guy's just being handed all this stuff, and then you see the horse at the end. You're like, wow.
This is another
Yeah,
one
I
like
think-
yours, Forlorn, where like he was very intentionally trying to like keep the scope under control because of like in the past having pushed it too far. I really hope that I hope that people take influence from you having done that and from Mind Game having done that. Like it'd be cool if that became like something that people try to aim for in the future. Like especially people who are operating on a super high level technically.
Yeah,
And
well, I
another-
think
another important
I've entered
lesson-
like 6 times. I think Mind Game is he's one of 2 people that have entered 13 times.
Yeah,
What?
That's
For
Is
real?
that right?
that's right. Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
So he knows what he's doing.
Thanks,
They
consistency.
were saying earlier though that when they finished like the film, they had like a long time left, and at some point they were just like, okay, I just need to submit this. Like I can't just like scrutinize the details. And I think that's another good lesson to learn from them,
That actually makes
to
me
like learn when to let it go.
That actually makes me think like, is Mighty Wanderer? Isn't he kind of like entered 13 times but consecutively, like he hasn't missed a THAC? So that kind of means that there's going to be some people who are entering for the first time, and Mighty Wanderer would literally have like entered for every single year of their life.
yeah. I liked Mighty Wanderer's entry as well.
Yeah, it was close.
I didn't quite get it on the ranking, but I liked it.
Yeah, that was definitely like another one which like, I was very close to getting into the top 25.
Yeah, it's close.
I think that like
I think the thing that would have pushed it right over the edge for me would be if they just had the horse just die for 1 frame at the end of the animation.
Like just be on the ground squished. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or upside down, just like
yeah.
A video game death, like just
Yeah,
flips
well, like my
upside
partner
down.
was
No.
saying, like that, like it would be funny. You couldn't do it with Lego, but like the legs like splaying out in like a splat kind of pattern.
Oh yeah. We couldn't really do that, but yeah, I could imagine it flips upside down like a video game sprite.
yes.
But yeah, I guess we should head over to 8th place, which was The Journey Ahead by Austin Raimi and Sean Willits. Another great pun entry.
Yeah, this one has a pretty crazy credits to it because it's got like Sean Willits, who's filming guy, and then you've got Forest Fire 101 did some VFX and some voice work in this as well.
Oh yeah, actually,
Yeah.
I forgot that like he's actually, is he credited in this?
Forest Fire, yeah, credit was helping with the effects. But it's Austin
Yeah.
Raimi and Sean Willits. And like, yeah, Austin Raimi, I'm not previously familiar with. I believe he's Filmy Guy's roommate.
And has
I
he
think
actually?
it's funny how we have a couple films that did a pun on the journey ahead. We have the journey on ahead, then we have the journey ahead. they chose such a good like face print for the character that would get their head to be like the giant head, because it's just like that final shot, man. That, I don't know, something about that smug grin, and it's just like this giant floating head.
Yeah.
It's so good. But I think like the face print lends to a lot of the humor.
Yeah,
It
I agree.
It
That's
reminds me of like a lot of James, Tiny Angry
Yeah.
Dog, and the films that are like,
Mhm.
is literally. Sometimes it's a funny head, and that's all you need.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
of those old faces with the solid black eyes, some of them just look so funny on their own.
I mean, one of the ones that comes to mind, I was thinking about it the other day actually, was the film with the moustache that's is actually his mouth.
It's Dash.
Yeah, that's such a good one.
Also, the helmet character, that like the talking is like the little flapping of the visor. That was really clever. I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the judge.
Not
I
to-
love the detail when he's waiting so long that he's dead, just a skeleton. Then when his time finally comes, he just goes zoop, and just becomes a like character again.
I really
Yeah,
like
that's like
yeah.
like a quirky comic style that I think most of us can relate to as very refreshing and nice, and of course a funny style to it.
Yeah,
And,
of course, again, like
most
I'm
of them,
sure.
it's like this exaggeration. He's so bored, he's dead.
I mean, it kind of actually.
I'm sure him zipping to the door with just a smear frame. I'm sure that was also done to avoid walking.
Yeah, but he also jumps into 24 frames per second for a bunch of those smear frames, which is interesting.
The waiting room thing kind of makes me think of Beetlejuice to some extent, where there's like one person who is like 16 millionths in line for queue or something stupid.
Yeah. He's got the number, and it's like a long like strip of paper is like falling on the ground, and the guy next to him has like number 4 or something.
he tries to like swap it around. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like the last scene of the film. Yeah.
yeah. Spoilers for the ending of Beetlejuice, but one of the things I really liked about this film was we mentioned, I think we probably mentioned it on the stream as well, but like I really loved that the computer, like the sort of like lighting thing, like it's like the character in the film, and it communicates through lights, and you basically just get like a narration, or like a reaction of the fight that's going on off screen, but it just works so well.
Excuse me for a minute. I'll come back like in a minute. I hope so.
Okay, no worries.
Also, animated really well is when the mouth of the big head opens up and like sucks in the ship. I love that it's not just a still image of the ship, approaching the mouth. It's like it's like jittering around and like flipping and like tumbling into the mouth.
I did like that. That was cool.
Yeah, and the little micro scale ship landing. It's like a single stud. It's also really cute. I think that just played.
I think this has like arguably one of the best like animated entries. It's got some very nice animation throughout, and there's like some very creative, like you're mentioning the helmet like visor thing. There's a lot of things like that which just feel like it seems like creative, animation. And also I really love the poses of the, when he does meet that one with like the crown, and like the poses that they do where it's like they kind of the out of socket animation where the arms are put the other way around, which I've seen Chris Solaris
when they do this.
Yeah,
Like, I guess it's a podcast, so you can't tell, but I'm putting my hands up in a YMCA fashion.
I've just switched to the the screen where, yeah. So people can see that now.
Okay, good.
So yeah.
Like I really, this THAC especially, I can't believe how many longer entries there are. 3+ minutes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I think this one benefits from being a collaboration. Like it seems like it was half animated by Austin and half animated by Sean. I would assume that's how they did it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I like the Tim and Fred cameo.
Yeah, I like that too.
That was cool.
But yeah, I guess we should probably head over to 7th place, which is the
Well, one more thing is hopefully it would be nice if the guy comes back. If it doesn't take another 10 years.
yeah. And
Yeah,
also,
I don't know if we've seen a brick film from him for a while.
Well, we have now.
I know he does like commission work occasionally.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's been since even the last commission.
I mean, we were saying this even like what like 5.5 years ago when he was on the podcast, that we should about like whether or not he'd come back. So I mean, technically this is
I assume he's been working
comeback.
He's working on something that's not Lego.
Yeah, but I do want to say that we had considered getting Filmy Guy back on again, but both Filmy Guy and Austin Ramey. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it this time, but I hope that we'll try and get them on a live stream again at some point. That'd be fun. It's been a while, but yeah, we'll move on now to 7th place, which is Lost in the Current by Nert Naught. This is a Jay Silver voice acting moment, and also just a really nice story. I'm really happy to see this one placed as high as it did, because it's not like I wouldn't feel, I don't know, I mean, it's not an obvious immediate with the kind of I don't know, the standard things are it's with a lot of the entries that are high in place, it's hard to know where a film like this would place, but yeah, I'm really happy to see this one placed where it did, because I thought it was great. I think it has a really great interpretation of the theme. I think it in a way which I don't know, yeah, it's just a really great sort of twist towards the end. I like the narration, and yeah, I think it's a really good story. I really like this one.
I like you were talking about the animation being really good. I like how they play with the mod element. It's one of those films where it's fun to find the mod element, because it's not always just the two studs. There's the city scene where there's a building. The intro, he's sweeping, and it is the studs, but they start separated and then they click together while he's sweeping. It's just really playful with that aspect of THAC, which you don't really see people spend that much time on that sort of thing, because it's kind of an afterthought. But it's nice in this one. I really like it.
It's a really strong opening shot.
Oh, yeah.
I really like the animation of the broom, or the scrubbing.
Mm-hmm.
And just in general, the lighting is really nice. There's the scene in, I don't know if that's, I guess it's like a kitchen, or I guess it'd be a galley. It's just the light from the window coming in from the side. It's very contemporary live action kind of cinematography in it, and it just looks really nice.
Yeah.
I really like the opening shot as well. I think I really love films that start off with some close up, and then kind of it becomes clearer as it kind of continues.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Breaking Bad does it in every single scene. You just show a little detail and build it out from there.
Yeah,
it's a really nice way to hook you into the reality of a scene with a textural thing.
Reminds me of the
also
the opening scenes of each season of Better Call Saul, where it's to be something in the working in the
cinnamon buffet,
yeah.
the cinnamons, that scene's
Yeah,
They take it so seriously, the preparation of the cinnamon bun.
I know that when I was
really quick. Sorry, Penna, but I really quick want to mention before I forget. There are 3 things that I thought were animated really well as well that we haven't mentioned yet. Which one is the fish swimming, where it's just like a blue piece of paper and then just like lower the opacity of the fish. That's like awesome. Like it works.
Yeah,
so
that was
well.
cool.
That was really good.
And also just like I can imagine, really easy to make in 24 hours. You just have this fish, lower the opacity, call it a day, and it looks good.
Yeah.
The bird, how they did the wings with those like semicircle, like 1x1 semicircles. I'd never seen that before, and that's really good. Because if not, you just have like a static bird without its wings stretched, flapping into frame and then flapping off into frame. And then the last one is the tea kettle, where they have like multiple of those like ice cream pieces as the smoke.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was awesome. Like I love that. Like I know people have used that piece of smoke before, but I've never seen them like coming out of a tea kettle like that, and it's like the perfect size for just that specific thing.
Yeah, I really like all these animation of like very small pieces that have like such a big impact on that one. I mean, you can have like all these exchange effects with many different small pieces, and they all combine together and blend in very smoothly and very nicely in that one. And I think that's quite exceptional for this entry, especially.
I know that when I make my own THAC entries, I always find it very difficult to have a nice ending that actually feels like a proper ending. Oftentimes it just THAC entries kind of just end, and you're like, yeah, I didn't put anything better. But with this one, it's like, I was watching it and I was thinking, this entry is quite nice, and I was sort of seeing the runtime is like, it's nearly over. Like, where's this gonna go? Like, where's this gonna go to end it? And then the ending hits, and I'm like, oh, that was nice. That was a good ending.
Yeah, it's a nice little twist, and they kind of, I think the fish shot is meant to be setting that up, because he's saying like the fish have noticed something is wrong.
There's something wrong with the fish?
Yeah,
well, he says like the fish is swimming south, like they must know something. I think is the line.
I got distracted for a second. I thought you meant the animation, like the little fish animated. I was like, I didn't notice a mistake. I thought it was done quite well. As you were talking earlier, OW, about how it's like even the little pieces like just changing. There's another one that I just noticed, which I didn't notice before. When he's like sweeping the deck, the very first shot, the studs like. They're not the same studs just getting pushed around. Like the white pieces change into like the transparent pieces to show like the water dissipating a bit, or the soap, spreading out.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't even notice that, because it's just so like seamless. Like it works so well. Your brain doesn't even think about like, oh yeah, it's all these studs, they're changing. Instead of
Exactly.
Just I wouldn't have even noticed the bird flapping, because I think I was looking at a different part of the frame. But like, there's so many nice details in just like all these insert shots.
Or the final shot, which I think just played on the stream. It's like the zoom out of the little boat, and they just have a couple little like translucent light blue bricks for like the water breaking around the boat. It looks really nice.
Yeah.
There's so many. You're right. There's so many little things like that. Like
I think you gotta watch this one more than once.
I think
sometimes all the small things make like the big impact, and do all pieces together get the big image.
I think when you talk about it, you can see why it placed the way it did. It's great.
Something else I just noticed, when the boat gets nudged and he like realizes that he's hit land. They don't only just rock the camera a bit, like everything in the room, including the teapot, like every little bit just shifts a teeny bit, and it's just like that little bit of flavor. Just noticed that just now.
I like that he's cooking the mod element in a pan. It's like I'm trying to. I'd like to know what food that is.
that is something funny in the opening shot. You've got the red stud and the blue stud, but of course, being one of the people accepting the entries, we're looking at that and we're thinking, oh, they're not actually connected. Oh, like technically it's wrong, but then by the end of the shot they just zoop, connect.
Yeah. They know what they're doing. But
You should
yeah.
probably move on. We're gonna find
Yeah.
more and more details. I just noticed another one, and I'm like, we have to keep going.
We have to remember this isn't the Lost in the Current special, it's the THAC special. But yeah, moving on to 6th place, we have Dance of Shadows by Aero Nomad. And then I'll just say this one is like visually such an incredible like film. Like I think it's very visually impressive. It's got there's a lot of sets. The lighting is really nice, and it's quite long. I mean, what are we on? It's like 3.5 minutes long. And
I think he was saying he sounded really exhausted in the THAC chat when he was finished with it. Is this? I just noticed. Is this 2 entries in a row that have the super wide like 2 point? I don't know what it is, like 2.7 to 1 aspect ratio. Kind of a
honestly,
fun.
I didn't even notice.
I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, like what, 235 to 1 or something.
Yeah. No, I think it might be wider than that. I don't know. Maybe I've been looking at my own 2 to 1 too much. But yeah, no, this one, like the lighting and cinematography and like the technical aspects are really, really nice. Like I wanted to I liked the there's the scene where he's like looking at his phone and the light is on his face. I'm wondering, is there like some sort of like masking going on in that shot? To like, because like I'm wondering like how would you get a light into that spot? Because that's like a shot you do in live action, like super easy. You just get someone with like a white screen on their phone, but like in Lego scale, that's not something that you see very often.
And like when he puts his hand down, the phone moves down. Like the light does seem to move with it, like really accurately.
Also, what we're watching right now, it should be on screen on the stream. I really like how, like, leading up to this, everything is animated. Like, they're taking care to make it seem very like, this isn't cartoony. Like, we're treating this like normal. And then the guy on the TV, his like arms and his like the mannerisms as he's talking, he just kind of like jumps from keyframe to keyframe, as opposed to like the guy sitting directly, in front of him, who's like animated completely differently. I don't think I noticed that on my first watch through, but
I don't know if it's just because I've seen too many Brickfilms, but I did find the guy on the TV like a bit funny. Like it did kind of make me think of like Harry Potter Lego thing or something.
Like classic like 2005
like
arms moving, hands spinning around kind of.
Yeah.
That could just be me. I'm not sure.
Some super cool visuals coming up.
Because of like the way that it's animated, is it like?
Yeah, he jumps.
Like
it's like his. I guess they can't see the what our cameras are showing right now, but it's like his hands do this and that, and then just this.
Oh wait.
I know what the.
I'll do it again
is.
if you.
Yeah, you're on camera
I know
now.
how it would look in like a live action
So
film.
he's like.
He's
like doing that, but it's like seeing that right after you just see this guy like chilling on his phone, and he's like, it's animated like like live action. It's
also
a good like way of separating the characters, having this guy feel more otherworldly.
Aaron Nomad's actually on chat. He said that the light on the phone is practical, no masking.
What? No way.
No masking. Yeah. So are you like hiding the wire up his arm or something?
That's crazy.
I'm assuming it's like.
Maybe it's just like.
I think we need a tutorial. How did you do that?
Yeah, give us a text tutorial in the live chat.
Actually, if you end up doing I don't know if you recorded much, but it would be cool to see a documentary of this. Yeah. Yeah, I'm watching that again now, actually. It's on the screen now. Yeah, that's impressive. Yeah, I'm assuming it's kind of...
I really liked the lighting on the... I don't think they're meant to be buildings.
I can imagine
there's
that
like
you
the
put brick.
red light coming up from the bottom, and I think there's like some blue top light as well. It just mixes really nicely.
Oh, you mean the bisexual lighting with pillars?
Yeah, bisexual lighting. Yeah.
I gotta say it as the resident bisexual. Like, I saw those pillars and I was like, I know what's up. Yeah, I love the lighting in
That's
that
what the
shot.
film's really
and-
about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you are.
There's also one shot where he's lying down and they're playing with the shadows, and I'm imagining they just had a bunch of like pieces in front of a lamp or something. But
I think
the shadow
that might be a digital effect.
Is it digital?
I don't know.
Aeronomad in the chat.
Yes.
Let us know.
Yeah,
It looks
I
so
would've-
cool.
Yeah.
We
I
want
know,
a
I
light
kind of
beam
imagine
tutorial
it's like-
for the whole movie.
I mean, yeah.
I would be surprised if like the guy in the TV is practical too. There's actually just like a hole there, and the minifigures are just a little far away.
Oh, he also said it's 239 to 1.
239 to 1. That's
big,
like
big,
what
yeah.
super
Oh,
widescreen.
okay.
It's wide.
Yeah.
IMAX.
Yeah.
IMAX.
I don't
yeah.
know. For some reason, I thought it was like the creator or like super like 70mm widescreen, but
The creator,
Funny,
as seen on Disney Plus.
yeah.
the phrase, the like Qui-Gon Jinn face print. I see that used in so many like, serious brick films because of like it's like a serious expression and then like a worried expression kind of where he's got his mouth open.
It's that one.
It's supposed to be him getting stabbed in the stomach. So I just think it's funny that people always use that scene where it's like his death face. You know?
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I wanted to highlight a comment by Pineapple Pictures from earlier. Contests bring out the best in his community. That's nice.
Oh yeah,
It is, mate.
that's
And
definitely
I agree.
true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we should head over to. Yeah, I guess we could play it at fifth place. I mean, yeah. Great entry, Dance of Shadows. But yeah, should head over to fifth place, which is
Planet L611.
Planet L611 by Corbanzo Films and Toad Productions. I know we'll have a lot to talk about this one.
Oh yeah.
I don't know
Another like 6 minute long animation.
Yeah.
Like how are these people doing this?
And like,
I wish Jay was here to talk about this one.
oh yeah. True. But I don't want to like draw too much attention. I'm kind of worried about drawing too much attention to like long THAC entries. I'm worried about hyping it up every single time. I don't want people to get the wrong idea. Like, I don't want people to start going crazy and pushing it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's the thing with
Yeah.
with a long entry is that like you're risking just having like a really boring entry. Like
Well, also you're risking just having a really horrible time
or not
during
finishing at
THAC,
all.
like
Yeah.
pushing yourself too hard, or you're not finishing. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, go for it if
Yeah.
you think you can do it, but don't feel like you have to.
You can still be top 3 with an entry that's a minute and a half or minute and 50 seconds, like Forlorn's is.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Yeah,
it's-
sure. But I think we all have to admit that when you're seeing a 6 minute entry that is a THAC entry made in 24 hours,
Yeah.
also it always gets a plus point for being so impressive. And
Yeah,
that's not the only one. The only thing that baffled me with that one. I think I can't hide it. This was my absolute favorite. This is like I think the cinematography is just a masterpiece with the play of music. This jazzy music that gets jazzier and jazzier as it just like goes to the climax of the whole thing when they're having the argument, and also this somehow comic-like effects. Now we're seeing this circle of rays that is as he seems to appear in like this space station or this rocket with all these components, all these nice shots, and also these live action stop motion shots. It was so impressive to me, this whole package, that I really was like, when I saw this, I was like, wow, that's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
this is like,
I thought the shovel animation and the talking with the Lego mustache stuff were really impressive.
Yeah.
And also like how violent the fight scene at the end is as well.
Yeah.
This thing, I think, like, what's interesting about this one is that, like, it being 6 minutes long, like, it uses that, it needs that time to, like, build up. You know, it needs to spend some time with them just being stranded and, like,
yeah.
you know, they're becoming more frustrated over time. Like, it wouldn't have the same effect if it was shorter. Like, you know, when it all explodes later in the film, it wouldn't have worked the same if you didn't have this build up.
I think that's something else that's like, you know, what I really love about this film is how much it kind of goes against everything you imagine like a THAC film can be. I think that, you know, with Brickfilms, like, mostly kind of, I think that, oh yeah, okay, I'll say this in a way where it's not like trying to it's not hyping up the idea of like long Brick films too much, but it's also kind of saying something about this film. I think that it can be quite hard to have a coherent, finished, like, end to a Brick film, and, you know, there's something that's, you know, even with something this length, and I think that to achieve something like that, and also create a film where the actual story it's trying to do is this, like, progression and showing a passage of time. I think that is exceedingly difficult to do in a contest like THAC, and I think that on top of managing to achieve that, it's also a brilliant interpretation of the theme as well. That kind of the journey ahead, you know, it's like they're on this journey and they're kind of, they don't know what's ahead of them, you know, they're just like, they're losing their minds. And yeah, I think it's a very kind of ambitious story to tell in THAC, and they did it, yeah, really well. I thought it was really, and something else I wanted to talk about. I think that there's something about the style which is very specific to like Corpanzo and Toe Productions, where, you know, they blend like animation with, or, you know, Lego with like these close up, like, human kind of like shots where, like, you know, you have like the shovel and you have like the moustache in the film, and it's this like style which I kind of think of as being like, it's not hiding, it's kind of like that it doesn't match, but in some weird way it matches because of that, and it just blends so perfectly.
It's got that kind of nostalgic home movie kind of vibe to it, where it's just like, like, you know, like you watch like really early like Super 8mm Lego films, and it's just like, because there's no, it's got that sort of element of, I don't know how do you describe it, like nostalgic creativity. Like there's an approach to it where it's like, oh yeah, you can actually just do whatever works and just get like really creative with it. Yeah,
like the originally I didn't even rank this film, but then after after AOW like showed actually Jay and I, because neither of us ranked it. That's why I wanted Jay here for it, because we were so wrong. You showed us the light, man. Because
I mean, I've judged you.
I wrote a whole essay about that.
You need to publish that essay. Like... It would make the creator of the film so happy to read that, because you praised the film so much. But
that's
like,
a good idea, actually.
It's genuine, like, it's good praise. Like, I rewatched it outside of the playlist, because, you know, you watch a 6-minute entry while you're watching through a playlist judging, and you're just like, okay, like, that was good, moving on. But I sat down with just this one after having read what you wrote, and I was like, damn, I was so wrong. Like I missed so much in this film. Like
I
wow.
I think I guess it would be hard to ask the judges to watch a playlist of 160 entries twice, but I do watch it twice, like to make sure. You know, sometimes a film might hit different on the second watch.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's why I was like, oh, I must have missed something. Like, you know, this guy ranked it number 1. Like I it's like, you know, I don't know. The mood was different when I rewatched it, and I was like, damn, like some of this stuff is hitting completely different outside of the playlist. Like it just on its own.
Yeah.
You have, I guess you're willing to let it build up because you're not like thinking about, oh, there's something coming up next, or the one that I just watched, or all this, and it's just much more charming on its own.
I did want to kind of like obviously I don't want to, you know, I do always kind of wonder like how much should I say about like, you know, opinions on the individual judges and stuff, but I did want to kind of say something that like I remember I was on a voice call with you, Reedy, and Jay, and I was kind of like just sort of saying like, oh yeah, you know, like I think it's better than you're giving it credit for, but I think, you know, like I put it at 7th originally, and I was like, oh, you know, it should be in the top 10. And as I was talking about it, I was like, no, you know what? This should be like 6th or maybe 5th or something. And I just kept pushing it like further and further. Like, you know, I was like, and you know,
and I remember I hadn't watched it since I had seen, like that was like very early discussion where we were just like kind of talking about our opinions, and not everyone was there. And I hadn't watched it in a while, and I remember thinking like, yeah, it's good. Like I liked it. I remember enjoying the film, but I just think they're like 25 better. And then I rewatched it, and I was like, nah. Nah,
it definitely hit differently when you kind of watch it like on its own. I think especially, I think without like another film playing immediately, giving yourself some time to think about it. Just like, you know, I think that's the thing with like, it has to be said with a lot of films that like, you know, one of the big things about you know, a lot of like really great films is that like you do have to kind of like just sit in silence for like a couple of minutes and just think about it, process what you've just watched. And I think that it's one thing with a playlist you don't get a chance to do necessarily. But yeah, no, it was yeah, it's mad how much.
But of course, that is why we have the whole discussion period.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know, between 5 judges, like, it's even if some judges like, even if it doesn't hit them right in a full playlist, somebody's gonna bring it up, you know, later, and it'll climb to the top 5.
That's why you get a bunch of judges with different tastes, so that you get people will like sort of, I don't know, make their case for like why you should consider this film that you might have initially passed over as should be ranking higher. I wanted to say I really like the last shot that the planet is it's a dodgeball. With like a snot on it.
It just goes like further and further out every single, like, you know, like it's like starts off with that the rocket, and it comes with a microscale rocket, and then it's just like that sort of like studs, and it's it just goes further and further out. Yeah, it's great.
I really like how it like has like the alpha and omega shot somehow. The first shots, of course, were like when the rocket is going on and the crew is like having we're heading up to another planet, but then it's like you have like this red what's this called, velvet, the red silk laid out as the different environment they're in, and it's like an establishing shot, very wide, and then it gets into the micro scale and macro scale, and the rocket gets bigger further, and actually it ends the same way but in the other direction. You've got the big rocket, and it zooms out, and you see it getting from macro scale to micro scale to super micro scale, and then you've got the dodgeball with a white dot on it, and it's somehow it gets like the alpha and omega feeling. It somehow ends as it starts, and that's a very nice motive I really like, and I also appreciate doing in my own Brickfilms.
But So what was I going to say? Oh yeah, something else I just want to kind of highlight is that ceiling, the inside the rocket is really good. Like, I don't know how it's done, but it looks like those sort of like several plate sort of pieces have just been like slowly kind of like they've got bent.
Yeah, where you don't attach them all the way and you just have them kind of hinged.
Yeah, it's really good. And we should probably
also the what I wanted to say was really, really cool, which I didn't even think of this when I was watching it at first, but then I watched it again and I was like, whoa, that's super neat. How they are able to make like the table with the cloth, they make like a horizon. Like there are several shots where the characters are talking. It's like a very clear like horizon that's like separating the table from like space or whatever, just like black. And that's so hard to do on like a table. Like I have no idea how they did that. It looks great.
But yeah,
what I wanted to say or point out, I really love. We've seen it just recently. The stroboscopic way he did, or the creators did for animating the laser shot, and it's just like there's some. The laser is like 2 frames on the same position, but with I think different lighting. And it creates like this stroboscopic thing you have like in these discos when they've got some flashing lights that are like flashing, and you have like the feeling that everyone moves in like stop motion. And this is tremendously very, very good executed.
I didn't even.
I was just like baffled when I saw this. I was like, oh, and it's all with this orange and red lighting. It was just like.
Yeah,
I think I only just noticed. Did they spray paint the dirt red for the shovel shot?
Yeah, I was wondering the same. Spray painted, or was it even like just a filter? I couldn't figure it out.
You know, because I noticed that like when they start digging, the dirt underneath is darker. I thought maybe it was wet, but now that you're saying it, I think they did just spray paint the top layer.
Yeah, that's how I do it if I wanted to get that
sick. That's so funny.
Yeah, like when it comes to judging, like people's initial rankings people do on their own, they are just used as sort of a rough guide, and the most important phase of judging is just discussion and the different judges making a case for, elements, and we'll hop on calls and we'll rewatch the ones that people ranked, and we'll talk about them. Like, certainly the most important part. Like, we don't like just combining a bunch of numbers and then just calling it a day. Like that's not good enough.
I also I just want to appreciate like how we've this is like one of the longest entries in the playlist, and I've watched this video on loop like so many times whilst we've been talking about it. I knew that was going to be the case, but it's just that good. But yeah,
I like the 3:2 aspect ratio on this as well. It's very unique.
Yeah,
I didn't even.
I didn't.
I was like,
everyone went quiet. They were like, "Wait, really?"
My laptop screen is 3:2, and it filled up the entire screen with no black bars. And I was like, "What? That's weird." But yeah, it's like the photography aspect ratio. It's very cool. Makes me want to play around with it.
Nice. I guess we should probably head over to number 4.
Yeah.
Which is Claire by 2x4 Productions.
Absolutely love this entry.
Yeah.
The rap one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is like really I was really impressed by like, the actual builds of the mice or rats. Actually, yeah, that made me think.
It is incredible for THAC. Like I would never do Brickfilms figures for THAC. Like,
I remember Nate did it last year, right? With the bookshelf. And like all the characters. Yeah. Oh, was it Brawl? Oh, you're right. Yeah, it was Brawl. I'm sorry. And even that wasn't not to knock Nate, that film was great for other reasons, but it wasn't like as complex as this one. Like the character shows up for a little bit. This is like the whole film with those characters, and they're so expressive. It's really hard to make something that big and have it like be that expressive, and I was just so impressed.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to build something like this and make it look good, but to then actually, figure out how to animate it well, I don't. It's beyond me.
And have a fully fledged story as well.
Yeah. Like there's some poses, like there's like that kind of when they're kind of like when that the white mouse is kind of like running down and kind of stretches, like it's something actually generally like really like fantastic poses. And then you've got that giant owl as well, the huge wings.
So cool.
Yeah, dude, it's amazing.
That's the thing, is like, it wouldn't rank this high if it was just the fact that it has brick built characters. Like that would only get it so far, but like it also has a full on story, like really a much more in depth story than most THAC entries.
Yeah. And also there's so much character into the two mice. Like even just the way that the two mice move. Like I was already complimenting the fact that they move and look so alive for being like such big built characters, but I'm like rewatching it now, and like the white rat, for example, as it's scurrying down and like trying to get off the tree, its little legs are like flailing as it's like trying to reach and like find footing, and it's like acting very frantic, versus the other mouse, which is confronting the owl, is there's a little bit more sureness with its like actions, I guess. It's
You're
just
saying
like,
the walk cycles are good?
the walk cycles are great. Like they're amazing. Like the walk cycles are so good. Like we're back to loving walk cycles on the World of Brickfilms podcast, because this film did so much with them.
After 2
This is not
hours
very
of
walk
hating
cycles.
walk cycles and animating that, we're back to that. No, we're back to the roots actually.
We're
Like the most common first brick film test, the walk cycle.
we were pro walking podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like we are in favor of walk cycles with character, with purpose that help telling the story. It's just that 95% of the time in brick films, people just think there is one correct way to animate a walk.
Yeah, and I think also like specifically for like efficiency's sake, and especially in something like THAC, like it's definitely like a thing to think about cutting around rather than trying to animate it.
I just guys, I think I should just address some things. I've made quite a lapse of judgment. I want to apologize to everyone who I wronged when I said that this was an anti-walking podcast. I just want to clarify that walk cycles can be good. It just needs character. I hope
I'm so sorry if we disappointed anyone. We're aiming to grow from this and learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, I'm actually, this has made me look at myself, and I think I'm going to go to therapy after this,
guys.
And I need to. I've got some stuff to work on.
So I've been listening.
No, you did not.
We do plan to do it, don't we? I shouldn't do that. It's 2:00 in the morning.
Oh man!
Oh wow!
Yeah, for anyone that's just listening to this, we just had 2 people pull out ukuleles, ready to
Just
start
they
doing
had
their
them on
apology
hand.
song.
We might want to keep it moving here if it's 2:00 in the morning for you.
Yeah, we should keep going. I remember this was supposed to take 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
we're actually
Would
not
be a
doing
shame
too
if I
bad.
had to work tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't know if we
Yeah.
talked about it, but I liked the there was a couple of great camera moves in this that were really ambitious. Like there's the
just moving
rotating
around.
one, and then like the camera like craning down as well, which is really cool.
Mhm.
But
like the POV
really
of the
really
owl.
impressive animation.
Yeah, I also something I really like about this as well is that they're actually the right scale for these kind of like real life
Oh, they
things.
found objects.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a nice touch. But yeah, I think we should probably head over to the top three. I think it's probably time we talk
Let's do
about third place, which is A Son's Purpose by Daratumi and Steve Collins. Which
Oh
was
man.
really good, really funny entry.
I don't think I'll be forgetting this one for a while because this was one of the films that like when we were all watching the like all us judges watching the films together in the playlist, we had to like go back and rewatch this one because it was like we couldn't keep going on in the playlist after having watched that. And I remember having to like everyone having to like settle down properly in order to play the next film because we kept laughing over the intro of whatever next film came next.
It
was just
this one, yeah.
genuinely just like gut-bustingly funny.
There is definitely the ending is absolutely hilarious when, you know, he orders the butler to do something and then immediately shoots him. Like,
Yes.
I did think that was I really enjoyed their documentary where you could kind of see them kind of coming up with these ideas, and then like laughing about the idea of doing that. It was, I actually small thing on the documentary. I did love seeing their reaction to the theme. They hated it.
They didn't like the
It
theme.
was funny.
I have to watch their. I gotta watch their documentary. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
You made a collection
that's
of them,
great.
right?
I love that they hated
is-
the theme and came third place.
Yeah.
It is a bit of a THAC cliche that like whenever the theme gets announced, you always have. Or well, I don't know if it happened this time, but like it used to be the case that you'd always have a few people in the chat basically saying like, "Oh, I hate the theme. Theme sucks. I'm dropping out." So yeah, it was funny to see that in their documentary.
Yeah, I also like the development of that story. I mean, it starts as in my expression, it starts quite serious, but then it over time it gets more and more quirky when he goes outside and finds this some kind of jester thing, and okay, that's the next level of quirkiness. You don't like expect that from that, or I didn't expect it from that, and then it goes on and it gets super random, like the Storm Scar ASDF movies, and I think it's the play with the expectation. We didn't have the expectation to have like this progression in that brick film, and it was just hilarious.
I think is what I like about it is that to develop on that as well. I think that it does play the first like scene, you know, relatively straight. You're not expecting it to kind of go the direction it goes, and I think that ending is really funny. There's some really funny lines in that bit where, you know, he's going on about the slaves and you know, all that stuff, and then he goes, "But son, we sell carpets."
I enjoyed the screeching character that pops out of the bushes. I just thought that was just funny.
Yeah.
And so many worms.
I also real quick want to praise like the animation and like the sets. Like, yeah, it's a funny film. It's really well made as well. I think something small that's just like a nice little detail. The chair that the father is sitting on. That's a really nice build for like a minifigure scale chair. I've never seen that one before.
Oh yeah,
So-
and of course they really like pushed the dramatic lighting, like made a point
Yeah.
of, you know, having the drama lighting, but that because it's drama but intentionally in a funny way, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like so dramatic.
Also, the pose of the father when he shoots him is really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, and There's like a hair in the shot after he gets
Yes.
a really big, thick hair.
Yeah,
I didn't notice that.
I did. It was slightly distracting. Obviously, it's
No, I'm sure it was completely.
Oh, it is.
intentional.
It's on the barrel of the gun, like right on the tip of the gun too. There's a little hair. I just noticed.
Oh, are we looking at different shots?
Yeah, no, because I did see the one on next to the dad's like dead body. But when he's pointing the gun at the very tip of the gun, there's like a tiny little
that's
hair
like-
sticking.
Yeah,
But
Like a
they
piece
just
of
filmed
fuzz or
this
something.
in a super dusty place or something.
I love that.
They're
I'm
selling
super-
dusty carpets.
I'm super
heavy
happy that
carpet.
they've made it an annual tradition to enter THAC. I hope that continues.
Yeah, and they've come in the top 10 each time,
Yeah.
which is pretty good. And twice of those times being in the top 3, which is
Up 3. Yeah.
pretty cool. But yeah, we should probably head over to second place,
Yeah.
which is Highway 67 by Jacob Crow. And yeah, I just want to say right off the bat that this was like such a great interpretation of the theme. To me, it really did really kind of feel like something that I was imagining when I came up with the theme. Like,
Yeah.
well, I say I came up with the theme. It wasn't solely me that did that. I think Jay has some credit for that. But when we were kind of discussing the theme, it's definitely something which came to my mind. The idea of like, how do you convey a journey within like, you know, THAC, and where it's quite often you have like one set, and you know, can you actually convey that at all in one set? And yeah, this did it really well. And I think it's also, you know, it's that kind of on the journey ahead, and yeah, nice, and also has like a really nice twist as well towards the end.
I love the headpiece that they chose for the cop. There's got to be like an art to choosing good headpieces, because that cop face is so good.
Yeah. This one is technically pretty much flawless. Like, I wouldn't know that it was done in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe how well it's all conveyed with the cinematography and the way the camera moves.
Yeah, this one's really, really strong directing.
Yeah, immaculate. Yeah, the
Also-
direction is the execution.
Speaking of like heads, isn't the main guy, is that Professor Snape's head? Or
Is
Draco
it?
Malfoy, I think.
I think
yeah.
I was gonna say it looks like Malfoy.
I really love that head. I love how it's like perpetually kind of just annoyed, or just like, you know,
Yeah, although it's kind of like the DreamWorks face with the eyebrows.
What do you mean?
And also when he's like tipping on his steering wheel, just like, oh shit, there's
Yeah.
no gas left, and how smoothly he gets off the road. And also I really love the animation where he puts his arm into the pocket, and then have like the blue square piece there scrambling around, getting out his purse, and then the purse also flaps out, and he gets a coin out of that. That's such a brilliant animation.
Yeah. I think they do that as well in Aeronomad's entry had that, didn't it? Where he, like right at the beginning, he buries the wallet.
Mhm.
I think that in the cleaners they do that too, with the little like pulling something out of the chest. I love it when films have
it's
that.
a great way of
Yeah.
kind of conveying that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, with this top 10, like there's a lot of entries here that you wouldn't know it was THAC if you didn't just know.
Yeah.
That's true. I think that there was something else. Oh yeah. By the way, guys, in case you thought that AW Gamer said a swear, then he actually said shoot.
Oh yeah.
I said what?
It's the German accent, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You know,
It wasn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Germans already. It's all this fault.
I think that sometimes we do kind of worry if like people will see the results and they'll be there would be grumblings of like, oh, like first and second place are both people who've placed first in the past.
Well, they're just really good.
Yeah.
What can I say? Did you see their film?
Well, this is
On the
I
other
was
hand-
like when I entered, I was like totally like not expecting to get into the top 3. Like I was just like, you know what, I would be happy getting like 5th place, and it's because there's so many entries now, especially that have like this kind of level of craft to them.
Yeah.
That and it's just like it's really really impressive.
Yeah, I was gonna say that on the other hand, it's really cool to have, a contest that's this competitive. It's like the pinnacle, the most competitive like community run contest that brick filming has. So it's cool to have a place for like the people, the people who have placed first in the past are competing.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Also in this film, I love the 4 wide cars, like the little chubby 4 wide cars. They're so funny. Lends itself really well to like humor films.
Yeah, cars are always a very kind of perplexing thing within Lego.
Yeah.
It's like
and just notice the cop when he jumps out of the car and he lands, there's like a little impact of like the sand being displaced that I didn't notice until just now.
I really love the use of when we talk about the cars. The police car is like that one model that I also use for one of my series actually, and it has like the doors, you can't open it. The doors, it's impossible to open the doors of that car, and I really love how he how the animators did like find a way not to open the doors when he just steps out and is outside. You can see that there's no doorknob, there's nothing you can do to get him out, so he can't even animate that.
That's so smart. Yeah, you just have like the door closing sound effect and he lands on the ground.
Yes.
I wouldn't have thought of that. That's so,
and it's
that's so clever.
it's because it's using like the trope of like the policeman's feet stepping out of the car is like a really like, you've seen that shot a bunch of times, and it's like used really effectively here to like make you not think about the fact that the door doesn't open. I think
this one really is.
Can we
like
say that we're an anti-door podcast now? Don't like door animation. Just don't do it.
Out a door.
I also really wanted to commend their like faith in their like in their concept. Like they didn't like have a scene where the cop goes, "Oh, those are mega blocks. That's illegal. Those are illegal because we're Lego people. Get the joke, you get it." Like they were just like, "Nah, people are gonna get it." And it's so much funnier that it's just that one shot of like you're like walking up and you see the mega blocks in the back of the truck.
And then the cop says, "I guess that I've disrupted your journey ahead."
Yeah, exactly.
Still, like it's such a great POV shot where the camera just slowly starts to reveal the mega blocks. Yeah, it's
I would
shot just
love
like
to
a
see
real
the
film.
exact path that the camera takes. It's not just like moving alongside the vehicle; it's also like rotating a teeny bit. So I don't know.
And pulling focus probably.
True. Yeah, that's a really complex camera shot. So I would love to see how they did it.
But yeah,
and it was totally worth it because it really sells it.
Yeah.
I think if we're going to move on to first place, we have already talked about first place, but
Extensively,
do we just say,
well, Forlorn's
yay, congratulations, Forlorn, becoming first place, and
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we can just say, and first place was good too.
yeah.
Cut it here.
End of stream. No, no, yeah. I really love this one. I think it was really good. It was really, well, I mean, yeah, it came first place. It was first on my ballot. And
Yeah. I think I talked about most of the things that I have to talk about with it. I think one thing I haven't mentioned is that the Tamagotchi animation, like the
was
little
gonna ask you
pixel
about that.
guy, I animated that in like 30 seconds. I just like
Whoa.
scribbled something in
Right.
Microsoft Paint and then like adjusted a few pixels, and it looked great. And it was like, oh man, like that was way
I was
easier
literally
than I
going to
thought.
ask you about that, because that was the thing that I was almost the most impressed with in terms of like the visuals of the film, is that like the like pixel art, it kind of looks like it could be made out of really tiny Legos if you know if you were to do that. So I was
Yeah,
just
no,
like,
it's just composited on
that's crazy.
from a Microsoft Paint thing. Like I put so little effort into it. Like I
Well,
spent more time adjusting the angle in the composite than I did like drawing and animating the thing.
What you did, that I think maybe you didn't even like think about this, but I think what works, why it works so well, like why the trick works perfectly, is because those screens, the LCD screens, they don't light up, like it's just you have to have the right light to see them. And the scene where you have the Tamagotchi kind of at an angle, I think because the screen is at an angle and it looks an opaque surface, that's what sells the like LCD display effect so well, because of the shadow that's dropping onto the screen from like the side of the Tamagotchi. You would have that on Tamagotchi. And I'm just like, dude, this is perfect.
Yeah, I totally didn't think about any of that.
Oh, sorry.
What were you going to say?
I want to mention one very, very important thing. When I started brick filming in 2007, sometimes I used Microsoft Paint 2 to have like to blend out eyes and have like a different facial expressions, or even having mouth animation, and it was the crappiest thing I did ever. And this is the proof. This is the proof that Microsoft Paint still is the goat at animating these things.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually do have like I've got like a sprite, like I've got like real pixel art specific programs, but I'm just like, because I know Microsoft Paint works, I just went straight to that.
Oh yeah, literally, I still use
question.
it. So I was going to say about Microsoft Paint. When I work on with this guy who I'm like his editor. Like we work like like he has like his own production company, and sometimes he'll be like, "Oh, can you send me this image, but like as a like in a different file size?" And I'll just go, "Oh, yeah, Windows Paint, resize, done." I can't be bothered to use Photoshop. I'm just like, yeah, Windows Paint, that'll do it.
Yeah, I did a bunch of weird. Oh yeah.
But go ahead. Finish your thought.
I was gonna say, like, I did a lot of, because like a lot of my work that I do nowadays is in After Effects. I do motion graphics work. So I did a lot of things that were like things that I could have fixed in camera that I just knew would be much faster to do in composite. So like this sky in the background of the first shot is actually like the fabric that I had didn't cover the background smoothly, so I took 4 pictures of moving it around and then masked it all together. And I did like a bunch of stuff like that, and like the I think I did the same sort of thing for the roof in the final shot. Like I like masked off the edge to make it smoother, and then just filled it in with black.
Nice. I do want to also point out that
that's
I really
good THAC use.
Yeah, I really like the actual Tamagotchi thing itself.
Yeah.
Also,
and it builds great.
I want to say one more thing as well, actually, which I only sort of thought about now. I like the symbolism of like having this Tamagotchi by the windowsill, like it's in the the early part of it, as if it's like this big priority, and then you juxtapose that with it being in a box, and that's just really good like visual storytelling.
Yeah.
And I
wanted to ask you. Sorry, Pen. I've had this on my mind. The scene where he is finally like he's trained and he looks up at the screen and the screen is like stretching really, really far. Was there any digital trickery to that? Because that shot is so well done.
No, I think I just positioned the camera in the right spot, and I think
Yeah.
because I knew it was just going to be a still frame. I didn't even have the camera on a tripod. I literally just
Oh,
like
you just took a picture.
I just like got it in position and took a picture.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's just like the 18mm end of the kit lens on a 700D, so
It's
it's pretty wide.
It is such a good shot, like because you don't see the screen in its entirety until that point, and then I think that's when you first realize like just how little control this guy has over the like he's
and I
in
think
his
also
own world. It's like dwarfed by this giant screen.
Well, you do like the Godzilla thing where you you don't ever have the entire screen framed in shot. So and you make it visually as big as you possibly can, and you make the character as small as you possibly can.
Yeah.
I saw I just want to point out something I thought was funny. Lego Lightbulb said, I missed something. I thought we were talking about Lego, and I think what happened was, I thought you were talking about the fact you were talking about Windows Paint, but I think what he meant was he saw the previous comment, which was, that's illegal.
That's illegal.
Yeah. 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 We were referring to the Mega Bloks in the trunk,
the previous film,
which was the
Highway 67.
Yeah, just in case you thought it was
I have to admit,
something else.
there's some walk cycles in this animation.
Oh god! Back to hating on walk cycles. You know what? I'm taking back my apology for.
Well, I mean, to be fair, walk cycles won.
I did the thing where you show the start and the end, and you cut in between, so you don't have to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I love the detail of like in the Tamagotchi world, the other side of the screen is physically there. Like, he's having to try to like break out of from the other side of the screen.
It kind of reminds me of the control room in Inside Out, like the brain, where it's like at like a booth with a giant screen representing the eyes of the human being.
Yeah, it's definitely I don't know if it's that exactly that it would be inspired by, but it would be something like that.
Oh, it's not exactly as much because in that movie they have control, there's a control panel and there's it's not like this clinical thing where in this one you have 3 lights that are giving instruction to represent the buttons that the person is controlling, which I think it's the complete opposite of the Inside Out thing, I guess, but it's really cool.
It's
he has
the ultimate
control.
thing, right?
I know
that's
when
a for Tamagotchi because it's got a ball on the on the antenna.
When I enter THAC, I'm always thinking for a while, oh god, I don't want to do that again. But then by the time the next one rolls around, then I'm tempted again. When an entire year has passed, then it's tempting. So I'm kind of wondering, we have to ask the obligatory question of with this THAC having not been too soul destroying, you think what are the chances? What are the chances looking like that you might enter THAC again at some point?
I don't know. Maybe I will enter again. I don't know. I feel like this one was just a perfect storm of I had had a good idea and figured out a way to do it that wasn't too taxing, and then just kind of did it and had fun doing it. I don't know. Yeah. It's but also now I've won again. It's oh man, then the pressure again.
We plan to hype up the next one as the 20-year anniversary THAC. It'd be really cool if you were one of the judges.
Ooh.
Oh, maybe. But then I couldn't enter last minute if I decided to enter. Also, if I could win one more time, 5, I feel would be a really nice round number.
It would, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. We always say we always prefer the idea of an entry. When picking the judges, we always want judges who weren't planning to enter anyway, or felt that it wasn't likely.
Yeah.
So-
And I almost was a judge for this. Like William, like they did ask me
Yeah.
to judge on this, and I think I said I was too busy or something.
I was so glad you said no. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, I
How
suppose
many
we'll
of
see.
us were first time judges? It was has Jay Silver judged before? Because it was me and AOW as a first time for sure.
I'm trying to think.
Has Jay judged before?
Unless he did like THAC 3.
I don't know. I don't think he has. I don't know why I had it in my mind that like the majority of us it was our first run.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
You might be right actually. Yeah, I think me and Penta might be the only people who have judged before. That's interesting. I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to kind of like shake it up. That's the thing I will say that like I'm always trying to get people who I feel like will be kind of like have diverse opinions, I guess, on like the entries and who will have their own perspective on things, and also I kind of like something which I've been trying to do more is get someone who represents another part of the kind of brick film community. So like, last couple of years we've had people from Brickboard. I think one year we had BP, who was kind of like the representative for like Brick Film Day. I like kind of doing that kind of thing because it's kind of like it's like an ambassador for another place, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, like if we had someone from Sinai come in as one of the judges, that'd be super cool.
Yeah.
I was judge at the Steinerei.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I feel like a complete fool now.
You don't need to. You don't need to. It's just like its own small world, the Steinerei and the brickwork thing. Yeah, but that's a really good point. I really love how we all have like so different opinions from each other. All the ratings. I mean, of course, there are always some entries that we all rated quite good, and then there were so many exceptions where like this one was rated very good from one of us, but from the others it was like nothing, or like it was okay, but very low in the list of like the 25, and I was just like, wow. I mean, we're so different in judging, even though all these entries are so different, and it just amazed me actually when we put the sheets together. I was just like, okay, this was the judging, and this was the judging. I never thought about that.
Yeah, but I think it went really well in that like everybody could debate the different placements and make cases for the films that they liked, but it never felt like angry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh no, like for example, Planet L611. I was so happy that I was wrong about it. Like, damn, if I hadn't like been in the judging group, I would have just watched the film and just been like, yeah, that was cool, moving on. But like that's an example of like you ranked it first, the OW. Jay and I, it didn't even make our top 25, and then I think Penta and Sean, or I mean Sean and Will. I get your names confused because it's Sean Willis, right? That's confusing, man. Come on. But you guys both ranked it like
less confusing name,
like 8th and 7th, right? So there's like
it was a bit higher. It was top 10 anyway.
There's this big range of like you were saying, OW, where everyone's like ranking their own thing, and then you see it all lined up. And I'm really glad that there's the discussion phase where it's not just like, okay, we get the Excel sheet made that compiles everyone's, and it's like, okay, here's like where everything is based on what you guys submitted your lists, and then we can move them around. I love that part, the moving it around. That was the most enjoyable part for me, the judging.
Yeah, it was also the part that I was a bit more confused at first, because I from either the Steinerei and the other brickboard contests that we do, we have never had like this sort of judging panel. Usually we've got some kind of, for Steinerei, for example, we've got a list and we put in our ranks, and then the points were put together, and then the finally is like arranged from that. Usually, I mean, every Steinerei has its own rules. It's not like something reproduced every year on the same level, but this is a quite a common thing at Steinerei, for example. And for the other brickboard contests, sometimes it's only a judge meeting where we three discuss, that this is my favorite, that's your favorite, this is one, and we handle it that way without a list, or but we never have like both. And I was just confused the first time about this, but actually it does make sense, and I see it as like an addition, especially for like this amount of entries that we have, like here over 100, 160. It's you can't just watch everything once and have like a complete opinion. And this is what makes this special.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think I'm wondering if we should probably consider like wrapping up, because we've had like I think that's kind of a good way, a good kind of
good note to end things on.
Yeah,
Just starting.
Yeah, when we're gonna talk about the other 150 odd.
Oh yeah. So now we have to reveal that we do actually have like every single one ranked from 160. No.
Yeah, actually that is one thing that, like, with the judging system. Yeah, you know, we do say this sometimes, but like there's no concrete ranking beyond the top 25.
Yeah.
Like, you know, people sometimes ask, "Oh, can you just tell me where I placed?" And it's like, no, because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, we didn't rank it.
I mean, there are other entries get discussed and get close to coming in the top 25, but there's nothing as concrete as the top 25 beyond it.
Yeah, well, because we all submit our individual lists, and then the list is generated from that. I think that what we start with, there's like maybe like 40-ish films or 30-something-ish films that
like
they
50.
do get like
like
ranked
50,
in some way by the automatic thing, but it's not really like it's like a lot of ties, because it'll just be like you know, two people put it as their 25th you know, entry, or one person ranked it, you know, like 8th randomly. I'm guilty of that, and and a lot of those films, it's like I think once you go under like the top 25, a lot of those films are like they're just as good as each other. Like they're not really they're not really that different. Like I don't think I could comfortably think of 5 more films that deserve to be mentioned, but I don't think I could rank them. Like I don't think I could do, oh, this is 30th and this is 26th. Like
yeah, we were happy that we did feel like the 25 number is still feeling good to us.
Yeah.
Like, I think it also forces us to really think about what we're placing.
It does, yeah.
I think it's actually a really good sign. I was just going to say, I think it's a really good sign if there's like still a few that you feel as though they could place, you know, like beneath that, and you know, you are like actively having to kind of like sacrifice a couple that you like, but I think that's, you know, just a testament to how good the standard is now for THAC. That, you know, I do kind of like to kind of bring it up every now and then, that like the top 25 aren't like the 25 good entries, you know. There's and I still think that like you know, there's people should still go ahead and watch the playlist if they haven't already, and you know, watch all the entries, and
yeah, like as we say, between the 5 judge ballots, I think around 50 got ranked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had like a short list, but then I also had a long list of like all the ones that I thought, oh, there's something really interesting in this one, or that entry was really memorable, but it just didn't rank.
I did something similar, yeah, where I had a long list of ones that like I thought were good, but I thought probably weren't getting any 5, but I wanted to list them just in case I needed to revisit them, or if I ended up not having 25 that I thought were probably going to rank, then I could check my longer list. But of course, I did end up with like, slightly more than 25 that I thought, oh, this probably should rank.
There's actually one.
My short list was about 30.
I think there was one.
Sorry,
entry,
well, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. I was gonna say that there was one entry that I remember liking quite a lot, which I think I was probably the only one that ranked it, but I'm just gonna try and find it.
Let's see if we can find it here.
It's the Journey of a Lifetime by Redman. I actually really like that entry. It was kind of, it had a very much a sort of late 2000s Brickfilm vibe to it.
The one.
Yeah, I really liked the. I thought it had some really funny kind of like lines in it. I think there's a line where it's like this like FBI agent comes in, and he's like, his name's Dave, and he goes, "Oh, Dave seems cool," and he says, "I'm gonna arrest you," and he goes, "Oh, Dave." I thought that was funny.
One that I really liked, that I was like, I really wanted it to make top 25, but I had to like just be like, okay, I'm gonna let it go. Was Yetko's entry, Pre-Cactus?
Yeah, entry, yeah.
Yeah, you Penna ranked it too.
I ranked
but
it
we were
as
like,
well, yeah.
Okay, there are 25 films better than it, but if there was a 26th or a 27th, that would be somewhere there.
I liked it. Yeah.
What is it? Duck Love. Duck Love. I also really liked. It just stood out for me. Like the builds of the ducks were really nice, and it was animated really, really well. Anyone else have any that they want to mention? Give like a little shout out.
I really liked. I can't remember the name of the film, but I liked the thumbnail for the orange one with the knight. I kept seeing that thumbnail, and it really stood out. If there was a best thumbnail award.
Oh, was that right on the 20th place?
Oh yeah. No, that one is.
Yeah,
well, there you go.
yeah.
Ranked anyway.
There was one that made us laugh with the guy on the motorbike, and like he goes past.
Oh my god! Yes! That was so funny.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And the train one.
Oh. there are some of these entries where it's like they're not exactly. We know they're not exactly going to rank.
Yeah.
We still really enjoyed watching them in the playlist.
Another good one, So Who's Flying by Animation Base 1982 was really funny.
I was the one where he goes, Melvin.
Yeah.
Often
I like to see
things might be funny but really short, and if it's really short, then it's kind of like it's kind of gonna fall off the ranking.
The rocket, the one with the like really unique animation style.
Oh, Joshua Nelson.
I really like the style of that.
That was a good one.
But yeah, Joshua Nelson's, that was just outside the top 10. Yeah.
Also, Blue Brick's entry, Rue, was really good as well.
I think that.
Naming one that placed.
Do you remember?
Sorry.
Do you remember N Cubed?
Yeah, Max Butcher's one.
That was a good one too. That was Max Butcher?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was.
It's a sequel to Max Butcher's entry from THAC 12, because THAC 12 also had the letter N as the mod element.
I think really? I actually ranked that one like in the like within the top 20, I think.
Yeah. There were a couple that, like, I want to say more than 5 that one judge ranked it like as their sixth place, 7th place, like 9th place, that sort of thing, and then they just didn't make it into the top 25. It just, because of the discussion, it just kind of got moved out. One that I ranked initially super high, I ranked it 7th, was Road to Damnation. because I just thought it was super impressive. The big like devil puppet in the set was really cool.
Yeah, the Pagano puppets was it?
Yeah, yeah. That's another
that
one
was
that I wanted to
definitely
mention.
Shout
one that was
out,
close. It was like so close to making the top 25. Yeah.
shout out to the
Yeah.
Four Monkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The four monkeys actually have one of the highest entry counts of THAC.
Yeah, it's
Like-
true.
Jay Silver gave The Greatest Adventurer You Ever Did See. He gave it 6th place. That's another one that didn't rank. So I'm just on behalf of Jay Silver. There's your shout out. Night Prime.
I did mention that one to the creator in the Discord. I did say like, oh yeah, but that was really good animation in particular. There was like really great physics at one point of like where he falls on pulls on the rope.
Yeah.
The rope breaks his fall. It's like the weight of that is really well done.
Yeah, both the
I do feel like
going, yeah.
Oh,
we could pick out things and we could be here for a long time picking other entries.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's one last one that I do want to mention before we move on. Just because AOW ranked it really high. Maybe you want to say something about it. Awesome Studios entry, Unconvinced.
Unconvinced.
Oh yeah, that one had. I know that one. That one had some
That
nice
was nice.
animation.
Yeah, it was animated really well.
Unconvinced. Yeah, we had a big discussion about that. Yeah, I do remember. Yes, I ranked it quite high because it was so well executed. The whole dialogue thing.
Oh wait, I think
maybe-
I was thinking of Orca. Sorry, the other 4-letter O word.
Oh. That's another one that deserves a shout out as well. Orca's entry was
Orcas.
great.
Oh yeah. There was a bunch of people in the live results chat who were expecting Orca to be on the top 25, and I think I already mentioned this in Discord, so I feel like I could say it because I've already said it. With Orcas, it's like Orcas might have been like some of the best animation in the playlist. Like the style is so good. I love the animation. I love watching it. It's just that, like, as a story, it just kind of trails off.
Yeah, it falls short a bit. I guess that's the proof it's not an animation contest. Because that one has, you're right, it's got one of the most stylish animation, or like some of the most stylish animation.
Yeah, but yeah, I feel like we could
Again,
go
it's
on
like-
for.
Yeah, we should stop.
Go on forever.
When something is kind of short and kind of like just has a bit of a THAC ending, it becomes susceptible to falling off the ranking. People can more easily like nitpick it and look at something. They could try to boost something else up over it by using these sort of points.
Yeah.
I was just reminded of that again. That there's another line from that like entry I mentioned earlier, where he goes where he's being where the old man's being arrested for murdering someone, and he goes, "Can't a man have his hobbies? No." Yeah, that made me laugh.
Murder is his hobby.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a regular hobby. Who doesn't do it? I've slaughtered and murdered so many minifigures before.
But yeah.
Am I a psychopath because of that?
You're just filling some dead time, right? Like, literally. I shouldn't even...
I hope people have found some of this interesting, because this is the first time that we've ever done a podcast special with an entire judging panel.
I hope that you guys consider doing this in the future, because I do at least for me, I would love to watch this podcast. Like, genuinely, this is the kind of content that I love watching, like hearing people talk about what they liked in a film, and having those more technical conversations, I guess, even though we're not really getting
I love a good
aspect of it.
Yeah, like in the weeds, like talking shop. Like I actually kind of just want to start my own podcast where I just interview people about their creative process.
That would be sick.
Mm.
I would love to listen to that. Definitely do that.
Call it like
I mean, yeah, I think
world
that's why.
whatever podcast, you know, whatever the
Couldn't think of a joke.
Do you want some royalties? Do you?
world of like it could be like World of Welding podcast or something like that, you know.
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe just call it like how do you make your stuff or something like that.
It could just be called Talking
so-
Shop.
Yeah.
I
Well,
like
what'd
that.
you say?
How do you,
William might like it.
Talking Shop.
We-
Talking shop. Yeah, there's already like 50 podcasts with that.
Oh, I'm
like,
sure.
there's like it's like every like good name that I think of is just like there are like at least 5 podcasts that already have that name.
But I think that William and I like doing the podcast, and we've been doing it for many years now because like it is enjoyable to just get to talk in depth and like ask people about individual shots in their films, and like, it's just enjoyable
just
for
like
us.
it's just a context to like pick someone's brain about like a bunch of stuff that you'd like to learn about.
I think
that like you might get some of it in just a regular conversation, but in like the context of like an interview, it's like you can really like get into it and like you have a good block of time.
I think as well, it's like I found that there's been instances where I've kind of there's someone who I've kind of admired their work for like years, and I've just like had the chance to kind of like speak to them for the first time doing like, you know, the podcast, and then, you know, actually kind of could continue talking to them and sort of be, you know, sort of friends with them. I think an example of that would probably be like Chris Elias. Like he's an example of someone who I've been watching his films for years. I didn't really know him in the same way because he was not in the same circles, and then we got a chance to kind of do a podcast, and now I talk quite a bit. It's nice. Like I've made friends through this.
Yeah, no, he's great. I every few months I'll do a catch up call with him just to see how he's going. He's been messing around with a lot of Blender animation stuff. Like I did like a video call and showed him how to do a bunch of stuff with mecha bricks and Blender, and he's just like he's gotten really good at it. He's like doing like commercials for like some local Lego place.
I saw that,
and they just look really good.
Oh yeah,
I saw that his like compilation
really
video of like 2023. It's really nice videos. But yeah, I'm thinking that like we could just go on forever, come on for hours. Just continuing to talk.
Oh yeah,
and it's actually
as we did.
It is funny. I was thinking like, God, we're talking about these entries way longer than we usually do. But then I was thinking like it makes sense because there's like 5 of us right now, you know. But yeah,
more people, more to say.
But yeah, I wanted to say.
we should probably mention Robucca for best stereoscopic entry.
I love their entry with all the stuff running at this camera. Yeah.
Best monkey animation.
Later, Lego Lightbulb. Lego Lightbulb was heading out. Good night.
I need to go to bed. But yeah.
Okay, you can go to bed. We will keep talking here. Okay.
We'll host your podcast for you. No, just leave your computer running and we'll.
Yeah. Do like the H Bomber guy did his stream where it was just like a skeleton by the chair. But yeah. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Forlorn. Thank you for not being a judge so that you could win. And thank you, judges, for judging, and all of you being on the podcast. And yeah, it was really really great. This is definitely the format that we're going to go ahead with for now on when it comes to the kind of contest specials, because this is like you actually get them out when it's relevant, and but
this is the best part of winning THAC is getting to come back on the podcast.
To be fair,
that's how you do that.
Not gonna lie, I was when we had kind of like come to the, you know, the kind of finalized results, I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait for ForlornCreature to be on the episode, the podcast again.
Yeah.
But yeah,
First time since 2018.
Well, that's
Yeah.
great. You just gotta guilt me into entering THAC again, and then by some miracle win again, and then I can come back on the podcast next year.
yeah,
The miracle of every judge just gives you the first place in the first place, and yeah.
I think when I entered
how
5 years
much
in a row,
did you
it was
pay
only
us?
every.
Again,
The
I
salary.
haven't had get my I didn't get my payment yet. So where is it?
Oh,
So
it's in
actually,
the
I did-
mail.
I would say.
I did receive the check in the mail, but it bounced. So I'm gonna need you to send me another one.
Oh,
feel
right.
like-
Okay.
I would say
I
that.
almost feel like we'd be hoping that you didn't place first the next time. Like it would have to be the greatest brick film of all time.
Yeah. Well, it's like I think I only won every second time when I entered consecutively. Like I never won 2 years in a row. I think.
Oh my god! I just realised we're gonna have to ship a big Lego set to Australia, aren't we?
What else did it?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's gonna suck. Yeah, that's coming out of your pay.
yeah.
We got the patrons to thank for. Thank you, BIM patrons, for continuously supporting the community. Round of applause.
Continuously
Congrats.
supporting shipping Lego sets to Australia.
Yeah. Right. I'm gonna end it here, guys. Yeah. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, and
Thank you, everybody.
yeah.
Thank you
Bye.
too.
And
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Is it?
Yay!